What's up, Level Uppers? Welcome to the Level Up Show, episode 299. This is a gaming dedicated talk show on some Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I am one of your co-hosts, Andrew. I make the show Midori, and I'm joined tonight by two guests. We've got the tech guru, Agent Vincent 4756, and I'm just going to call him The Voice, Jersey_Tom. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us. Hi, everyone.
Are we okay with these names? Like, Vince, you're the tech guru. I think we've decided there's no changing that now, right?
Are we sure about that? I still feel like I haven't earned that back yet.
I'm okay with it. I'll allow it. I think I determine if you remain as the tech guru or not. And Tom, are you okay being known as The Voice?
Sunday. Tune into the Level Up Show.
Wow. I think he's confirmed it.
Purchase the soul seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
There's no denying it now. It's done.
There's no denying it now. It's done.
And already some support coming in tonight. Turtle Power coming in with that resub through Prime, 42 months. Thank you so much. That leads right into a good old spiel Druckmann here. Once again, welcome to the show. We've got 13 people in the room. Keep sharing that show, guys. Twitter, other Twitch areas. I don't know if you want to go on Twitch channels, but whatever you want to do. Facebook, MySpace. What else is there? Tinder. All the good ones. For sharing the show.
Good ones, clearly.
Yeah. Anything you guys can think of, share the show. Let's get some people in here tonight, and of course, Turtle Power came in with that resub. Subs, tips, cheers, we appreciate so much. And we are doing after show tonight, or at least I will do after show. I didn't get to talk to you, Vince or Tom, about that. But 30 minutes will be $30 in tips, and $60 will be 60 minutes full after show. I will stick around if that happens. Nice, Vince will be here. Tom, what's going on with you? You got work tomorrow?
Yes, I do have work tomorrow.
So I will not ask that of you, sir. You do not need to stick around. But Vince and I will stick around tonight if we get that full after show. But it's just in general, subs, tips, and cheers. We'll give you a spin of the prize we'll hear here on the channel. Of course, you do not need to do that. If you're just watching, that means the world to us. Thank you so much for being here, lurking, chatting. If you do enjoy the stream, I do hope you hit that follow button, though, here at twitch.tv/levelupshow. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get alerts whenever I go live Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays, always Variety Gaming. Sundays, either Variety Gaming or this here talk show. And of course, Vince and Tom are both streamers as well. We've got Agent Vincent 4756 in the chat, and you got Jersey_Tom. They are both on Twitch. Give them the follows right now. Become a part of their communities. They support us by being a part of this show, so we got to support them as well, of course, right? How you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing? Vince, let's talk with you first.
I'm doing good. It's been a really insane week, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It'll be a start of a next busy week, Monday, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's been, outside of gaming, it's been a pretty wild week. I don't think we want to get into all of that.
No.
But gaming alone.
I've enough of that at work. I don't need to do it here.
We were almost tempted to call this show tonight Salty Sunday because not even just this week, but the last 2 weeks, I want to say, have been nothing but salt, especially in the gaming community. But then when you compile that onto everything else that's going on outside the world of gaming, it's been a dramatic couple of weeks.
It has been.
So
it's been insane.
As much as we're going to, touch on that salt tonight, I hope that we can also take your mind off of all the crazy shit that's going on in the world right now. Maybe we can leave that, in the recesses of your mind for 3 hours, and we can just enjoy, hopefully, what's upcoming in the future of gaming, the next generation on the horizon. Let's focus on the positivity as well tonight, not just the negativity. Tom, what's going on with you, man? How's your week going?
Week's been all right. Enjoying autumnal activities this past weekend. Got some apples. Going to be making some apple fritters with those, fresh from New Jersey.
That sounds real nice.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Those Jersey apples are real special. I know.
They are very special.
Yeah, we didn't go apple picking this year. There's a place near us that does apple picking, but it is unbelievably condensed right now. How many people are there is kind of mind-blowing. I don't feel comfortable being around that number of people right now. There's no possible way you can social distance at this place.
It's extremely fair, because the place that we went to, I'm happy that we went as early as we did, because by the time that we were leaving, you would have pictured that being like the middle of New York, during rush hour.
Yeah.
Jesus. With how many people and how many cars were trying to get into these places. I'm glad they're doing it, because they're going to need the money to help them get through the winter. But
yeah, I get it. I do get it. This place is It's a farm, really. It does like,
Yeah.
have like a produce like store and whatnot. And they have things all year round, like Easter, egg hunts and of course pumpkin picking and hay rides. And right now they're doing apple picking, but there were probably hundreds of cars there. And it was pretty wild. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea right now, especially
Yeah.
with the news of recent. It seems like right
Yeah,
now, especially,
Jesus.
I'm like, I don't want to touch anybody with a 6-foot pole right now. So I'd rather keep my distance. What about gaming wise, guys? What have you guys been playing this week?
I'll go ahead first. I actually finished up Kingdoms of Alumar.
Ooh, okay.
Alumar. I don't know how to say the name.
Amalur?
Well,
I thought it was
Coach
Amalur.
Schilling is very appreciative of your patronage.
I'm sure, yeah.
It was good. I liked it. I think I gave it like a silver title by the end of it. I really didn't do any DLC. It's a product of its time.
Right.
That third act is odd, as in like it was like, oh my god, we ran out of money. We need to get everything done. Okay, we're done. Like that's literally what it does. Like it literally just ends. It's like, oh, okay. But
Maybe they ran
fun.
out of money.
It was just weird. It's like that
No,
entire third act was
they-
just like they just literally rushed everything. I didn't get to touch a DLC at all. But the other thing that I'm playing is Genshin Impact, and as a free-to-play title,
Yep.
holy crap!
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that like crazy. It's been so much fun.
So to anybody who
I
doesn't know, this is the one that had the big controversy of being too similar to Breath of the Wild. Some people thought it was like straight up a copy, like deserving of a lawsuit, all this and that. So that was kind of what put it on people's radar, actually, was how similar it looked to Breath of the Wild. Vince, I'd like to know your opinion on if it actually is similar.
No, like
No?
that's the weirdest thing. Like the biggest thing that I think I can really pull from it is like the art style and the climbing.
Okay.
Everything else is different. It's like a little pared back Ubisoft type world in a way. You don't have a bunch of question marks and things like that to go do and explore, right? You still have a free to play gotcha game. So you have like these timers and a lot of things going on in the background. Like, to do dungeons, you have a certain currency that you use and that regenerates over a period of time.
Sure.
But the combat is for, it's for characters. And there's this entire elemental combat system that's going on with it. It's actually a lot of fun. It's got some really cool quirks to it. Like, you have you cast ice on someone, and then you cast fire that causes like a melt thing that happens. And like if you do fire again, it does triple the damage. Or like, if you had someone who's wet and you cast ice, they freeze and stuff like that. There's some really just cool stuff there. The story is weird too, because like I go from being like, I don't really care what's going on to like, okay, I'm invested. And the one thing I will say, and this is crazy, if we don't see this game up for best score at the VGAs, there needs to be riots.
Really?
Because the score is phenomenal.
Do you know who did
As
it?
in like, it's just, I don't know who exactly did it. I know they literally did not give a shit about money for it. Pardon my language. I know they went and did like this massive orchestra for it. There's a crap ton of music for it.
Nice.
The combat music is fun. It's all very Eastern based as well, and it is really, really good. The music has been the highlight the entire time. There's been nothing really bad about it whatsoever. It's crazy.
Very cool. Yeah, it's on my radar. I don't know if I want to jump into it. I feel like I've got so much that I want to get done right now. To skip you for a second here, Tom.
No, go.
The reason I am busy.
The composer, I believe, is Yu Peng Chen.
Okay, haven't heard of him before. Okay, but that's awesome. That's actually a real draw for me, Vince, that you said that the music is fantastic. But I'm busy right now because Shocktober began, and I actually started a day early. On September 30th, I actually started the whole thing. I've never actually played Resident Evil 4. This is so I figured it was about damn time I did that. I'm playing the PS4 version, the remaster, smooth 60 frames per second. It still otherwise is incredibly dated. It's kind of charming in that way. Like the character models, the voice acting, just how cheesy it all is. Not sure that's necessarily dated. I feel like that's intentional to a certain extent, like the cheesiness of it all. But it did take me back. Like when I started it up and the cutscene direction and the music and the voice acting, I was like, wow, this is definitely a product of like 2004. Like whenever this game came out, I definitely feel that right now. And then I took control and I was really surprised, and I shouldn't have been. Maybe I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you idiot. But I didn't realize that 4 still had sort of a hybrid tank control.
Yeah.
So I thought, based on my, cursory knowledge, based on other people's, explanation of the game or their hype or them saying it's one of their favorite games of all time, to me, it was always implied that it was the game in the series that changed from the tank controls and became more action focused. And so when I got in there, I was expecting full 3D camera control. I was expecting, a little bit faster movement, but then he's walking like so slow. And I didn't realize you could sprint at the beginning and you can't turn the camera more than 90 degrees left and right. And it's like, oh shit, like this is old school Resident Evil for the most part. Like I thought this was going to be the evolution, and it is. Don't get me wrong; it's more action based than 1, 2, and 3. But I was expecting more of an evolution with 4 than what I'm getting. I'm not opposed to that whatsoever, but it did take me a moment to sort of collect myself and get myself into that mindset of like, okay, you've got to be wary around every corner because you can't turn the camera quick enough. You can't turn your body quick enough. If you want to turn around, you do have that back on the joystick, and I think it might be X, and you quickly turn around. But otherwise, all that movement is so slow that the zombies can really sneak up on you pretty damn quick in that game.
Not zombies.
That's true. They aren't zombies yet. I don't know if they ever become zombies. I honestly don't know. But it was sort of humorous at the beginning where
Leon tells you.
yeah, Leon says
I'll let you know
they're
right
not
and early.
zombies.
These are not zombies.
Yeah, so that's intriguing. Like the story wise, I am intrigued by like what the hell is going on here. These non-zombies like are using weapons. They have some intelligence to them. Like although their intelligence is also dumbed down by the fact that they're leaving notes everywhere for Leon to find, like, oh, we're keeping her, the president's daughter, in this house. I hope he doesn't find out. It's like, you put it in a damn note, like, on the table. Yeah. I think maybe you should have been a little bit more wary of my skills as a covert operative to find these notes. So that's a little bit of a fourth wall breaking thing there for me. But once again, the game doesn't take itself very seriously. It's and I'm okay with that. I'm actually really enjoying it so far. And I feel like I've gotten the hang of the gameplay to the point where a lot of people stopping in the stream were, of course, diehard Resident Evil fans. Probably the only people that go out there and look for Resident Evil 4 on Twitch. And they were impressed. I was happy. They were impressed by my skills. They were like, you're actually really good at this. I was like, thank you.
There you go.
I appreciate that. I feel verified in my gamer status. So that was kind of cool. I'm looking forward to playing that some more. And of course, we had several scare tips happen on Wednesday to start it all off in the right way. I got freaked out a couple times. I'm turning up the scare tips full volume during the streams. I'm turning up my monitor all the way. And I just want to remind you guys again, I've said this before, because I don't want you guys to think I'm duping you. It's not going to be near as loud for you. Because for one, I put my monitor all the way up. That automatically affects it because I plug my headphones into the monitor. But also on top of that, I have a compressor on OBS. So it takes those peaking audio and it pushes it way down for you guys hearing the broadcast. I'm getting the full effect. I'm getting that blasting scare tip in my ears. So it's loud. It got me a few times, especially on Wednesday. So I'm happy to finally be doing that. And I hope that I do eventually get the Dead Space 2 this month as well. Tom, you seem to be a Resident Evil guy. Do you have any sort of recollection of how long Resident Evil 4 takes?
Well, because I also know that you play the game very much like I do.
Yeah.
I would say you could probably get through it in a good 13 to 14 hours.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay.
It's not that long of a game. It's going to feel that long because it's actually not going to feel that long because the game itself is expertly paced. I think that it is a pinnacle, and why I completely understand your early kind of hesitation with the game a little bit, because you have to also remember what time period this came out, which was specifically about 2004. And it was not a full step, it was a half step up from what you would typically expect, because originally they were going to make Resident Evil 4 very much like 1, 2, and 3 before they end up scrapping that project and then reworking Resident Evil 4 into what it is now, what it has been. Right. And they actually used the old concept of what Resident Evil 4 was going to be and turned it into Devil May Cry.
That's really cool. And I know somebody pointed out that one of the songs in the game, one of the menu themes, is the same theme as Devil May Cry. Maybe, I don't know if that's an intentional homage or, Easter egg of like what was the base for the game, sort of the
There
skeleton.
are a couple of there's a couple of little nods in Resident Evil 4 to Devil May Cry. And if you at the time were just strictly a GameCube person and you never got a chance to play Devil May Cry because you didn't own a PS2, you were like, those references probably flew over your head a little bit. But if you had a PS2 and eventually when it got ported to the PS2, which became a superior version of the game, then you got more of an idea of, oh, okay, I see what you guys are doing.
I was the opposite. The reason I didn't play Resident Evil 4 is because I didn't have a GameCube early on in that generation. I got a GameCube maybe 3 years into its life cycle when it was like $100 with Wind Waker. That's how cheap I got GameCube at one point. And that's what got me on board. And Wind Waker is actually one of my favorite Zelda games at this point. So that's why I missed out on Resident Evil 4. And in all honesty, I kind of missed out on 1, 2, and 3 as well, in that I didn't play them myself. I experienced those games through other people, watching them play it. My cousin specifically played through 2 and 3, and then one of my other buddies when I was in karate, he was the one who played through Resident Evil 1, and I watched him play. So that was my experience of those games way back in the day. I did play Resident Evil 5. I did play Resident Evil 7, and then during my streaming career, if you want to call it that, I did go back and play Resident Evil 1 Remake, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I plan on doing Resident Evil 3 Remake eventually. Maybe that'll be a next year Shocktober thing, but I'm happy I'm finally doing this, because I feel like I'm getting a taste for an important moment in gaming history, because I know for a lot of people, and I know not all people, because this may cause a little bit of a feud in the chat, Resident Evil 4 is considered either the best or the second best. It seems like it's between 2 and 4. I know Denny specifically, your buddy Denny, wasn't too fond of me saying Resident Evil 4 is considered the best.
Denny has very correct reasons for believing that 2 is the best, and the problem is that they're extremely valid options regardless of which way you're going to go with it. The only thing that I would say, because I won't give away what my favorite is, but I will say that it's going to be completely dependent on A, which was likely your first experience with Resident Evil, and B, if you were more of a fan of the puzzle solving, like very much old school way of Resident Evil, or if you're more of a fan of the action side, like that's going to help you out, as well as tone. Tone definitely plays an extremely big part in determining how you view those games, because as you have already seen, and from what you've mentioned already with the fourth wall breaking, Resident Evil 4 is probably the campiest of all the Resident Evil games, and it's why like a lot of people love that game, because
it's kind of surprising to me, actually.
It doesn't take itself seriously.
Not because 1, 2, and 3 aren't campy. Those ones are kind of campy too, but more in a horror campy way. Whereas 4 is like action, like hero campy. Like it kind of reminds me of Twin Snakes every now and then, with like Snake doing backflips off missiles. Like that's how I feel sometimes when Leon is trying to kick somebody in the face and then does like a flip and shit. I'm like, oh, this is Twin Snakes vibes I'm getting here, which I'm all for. Don't get me wrong, but
one of the things you missed was that at the very beginning of the game, instead of because typically they're supposed to, the idea is that they wanted to drive you upstairs instead of you going out the first floor window like you did before.
Yeah,
because you run up there and there was a package of handgun ammo that you could have picked up, but then you could have gone and like looked out the window up at the second floor, and then it gave you the prompt to jump. And you just do a combat roll from the second floor all the way down.
Superhero landing on the ground, pretty much. Yeah, it's really over the top, but I do appreciate that. I actually want to give a welcome to Carnage in the chat. He's one of the few that joined us on Wednesday for the first time through Resident Evil. But welcome to everybody in the chat. It's awesome to have everybody here. We got 30 people in the room. We'll do a low volume during a talk show. But Tom, what have you been playing this week, man?
Well, this week, very similar to you, I was going through, it's October, so I get the itch to play more horror games myself. So this past week, I managed to get through the entirety of The Evil Within, another game by Shinji Mikami.
The first one, right?
And by a company who we will be talking about very shortly.
Definitely.
In Bethesda. This was one of Shinji's first games leaving Capcom, one of his larger games that he worked on. and also features the internet's favorite Japanese developer, Ikumi Nakamura, or art director, rather. As she was one of the primary designers for the art and the character design and other things surrounding the.
And of course, she has left Tango Gameworks since then.
And she has now since left, and she's working on, I think, a couple of other projects right now, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. That's what she's talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, she's hinted at a few things, but I don't think she's like hard confirmed whatever she's working on now.
Right.
But yeah, The Evil Within definitely still gives you a lot of the Resident Evil vibes. It's still goofy, and I would say it's goofy more in the way of the fact that it plays itself. It wants to be serious,
yeah,
and it wants to play itself super serious.
And
but then you just hear like your gruff main character, Sebastian Castellanos.
Yes,
hard-boiled detective that he is.
Yeah,
and all of just like goofy stuff that goes around him. I mean, it's the best way I can describe it for anybody who's never played it is think of Inception, but more horror based.
Oh, I played it. Yeah, I played both 1 and 2 myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for the benefit of people in the chat who may not have played it, I would say that it's. I would say picture Inception, but more within like the Silent Hill universe, if that's right. Where it took place.
Think if you're entering a mind that is unbelievably twisted and psychotic, and serial killer vibes. It's kind of like The Cell. You know, you ever see The Cell?
Very much like The Cell, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to that. I liked the first one actually better than the second one. I like them both, don't get me wrong. But I like the first one more than the second. I do, yeah. Now, one thing I will say without a doubt is the first one has a lot of technical issues in comparison to the second game. The second game is much, much more polished. But I feel like they tried to force in like some openness in the second one that didn't quite work with me. I don't know. The second one didn't quite land in the same way the first one did for me. I know. Yeah, I know that's an unpopular opinion.
Super hard. I
know that's an unpopular opinion. Yeah, I thought the first one was really great. I liked the first one a lot.
It's worth noting that the second one Shinji did not participate in.
Right.
So that could be part of it for you. Without Shinji's little je ne sais quoi that he brings into his little touches, the little salt that he throws on there. It definitely feels and it plays a little bit differently, but I'm looking forward. Potentially, I may be doing that one next, or not next, but it will be coming at some point later this month. But I got a couple of other horror games that I'm got lined up that hopefully with the addition of a new HDMI splitter, I can start playing some of the horror games that I have on PS3 as well.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I just want to be clear. I like both of them a lot, actually. I think they're both really great. No, I just want to be clear because I think we should talk about it later on with The Evil Within and what the future of the franchise could be once we get to, of course, the Bethesda topic of it all. But yeah, I'm glad you're finally going through it, Tom, and I'm glad that you seem to be enjoying it so far. Once again, welcome to everybody. We got Denny in here. Denny, Resident Evil 4 is better than Resident Evil 2. I'll say that first. But welcome to the show. And everybody else here, Asha, King Kurt, thank you for the follow that just came in from ya boy Cavalry. Good to have you in the room. And anybody else that is new here, I'm going to remind you once again, hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get those alerts whenever I go live. What did he say? The son of a bitch.
I'll fucking kill all of you is what he said.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Wait. Wow. So are we gonna somehow one day play that brand new Twitch hot item fan? I can't even say the word. The ghost hunting game. No, the ghost hunting game. It's out right now. It's like
I haven't even looked at it. You posted it on our Discord, and I haven't even looked at it yet. Honestly,
it's a 4-player co-op first-person ghost hunting game that like it listens to your mic and everything like that. You know, like those shows like Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters. Yep. They made a game out of it, and it's apparently like the late like. I think it's 1 or maybe 2 people developing it, and it is like the hot item right now. Like the community loves it, apparently.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Phantasmo or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something similar to that.
So do we specifically work as people who work for Roto-Rooter, and then we just like find out it's people's pipes?
Yes.
Oh, it is. It really is.
No,
I have no idea.
Man, I really hope it is.
Like the funny thing too is like you could stay in the van. Like, you know what? No, you guys can go in the house. I'm gonna stay in the van and watch the security cameras. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I'm staying here. Just, you guys go check out the ghost.
Is
in
it
the hall.
trying
It's
like
fun.
it's kind of channeling those Among Us vibes in some ways?
No, it's like I think it's like 4 players. I think the whole point is like you're trying to find the evidence of like what spirit type it is or whatever. Like there's like 5 in the game, and like that's the whole point though. It's like I want to say like it's a mix of like Slender and like the prologue of Resident Evil 7, where it's like it's first person. You're going into these houses that are completely dark, and you're turning your flashlight on. You know, you turn a light on in the living room, but then like you walk back through, the living room light is off now. And you see a shadow. It's like that. It plays it on that, and the more time that passes, the ghost can apparently like kill you, I guess, or something like that. But like as more time passes, the entity always gets more and more vicious and violent and stuff like that. So that's the whole point. Is like it's supposed to like be scary.
Yeah, sounds like a great Shocktober or Spooktober game for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll get
like
around to one like that, but
yeah,
that's cool that it's out there. I'm assuming it's a small team that worked on it, similar to
very
Among
small.
Us.
I think it's like 2 people. I think
That's cool. I actually do want to
that's
touch on
great.
Among Us really quick because I forgot to bring that up. I played that last Sunday, and it was fun. I had a great time with it. I will say, I personally will not go back to that game. I don't really have a desire to, at least. Maybe it happens in the far future because it's voted for by the community or whatever for like a community game night. But I feel like I got my fill out of it. I feel like 4 hours of that game is plenty to see what it's all about. It only has 3 maps. I know it's different with different groups, but I started to get a little bit tired of it by the end of those 4 hours. I must say.
I think you're completely sus at this point. Then
Yes.
you're so
Very
sus.
sus.
I think one of those things about that game too is it also depends on settings too. Like, didn't we all discover that? Like, you even said to me, you're like, "Well, how'd you kill me from halfway across the hall?"
Yeah,
I
the
was like,
medium
"Oh, no,
setting is way too far. You
Yeah.
were like a good 15 feet away from me, and you killed me. I was like, that's
No,
ridiculous.
That's what I do. I just come in and just kill you like that, and just it's done.
Just
I don't know,
gank it.
it's-
What do you guys
Gank
like
it.
playing as better, an imposter or a normal?
I liked it as both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was ready to pull my hair out with Turok with that one time when he had the opportunity to kill those 2 and he didn't, and he got called at the very end. I was like, oh
Yeah.
no, he almost had it. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed both perspectives. I also hate how you always suspect me every single
I
time.
will
now.
always suspect you, Vince. Always. You just got something about you, man. Especially when
It's
you
one of
play those
just
games, you get like
Secret
really
Hitler that becomes
aggressive.
friendships.
Yeah,
get-
you get
get
very
aggressive.
aggressive. You get very, very aggressive when you play those kind of games. It's interesting. Brings out another side of you, and I'm always confused by that side of you. But no, I think people should definitely try it out because it's free on mobile with ads, and it's $5 on Steam. It's fun, but I even like sensed it with like you guys. I feel like in those first like hour or two, everybody was like really fired up. We were having a good time in meetings, and then like hour 3 and 4, it started to. Everybody became a little bit less enthused. It just, I don't know. It felt like it all went away pretty quickly. That was the vibe I got.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
If you're switching out like groups like every hour, maybe that, if you got enough people to
Maybe.
do that, I could see it maybe holding on a little bit longer. But yeah, I don't know if I enjoyed being an imposter more or less. I definitely like somebody in the chat. I had an extreme anxiety when I would play as the imposter. And that's in any of those games. The other one with Jackbox Party Pack, which was called what? I actually forget what the name of that was. Do you know?
Push the button.
Push the button. That's another one. Whenever I would play one of the imposters, if you want to call them that, the anxiety. It's a lot. I'm good. I feel like I'm pretty good at playing that part, but I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good about myself. Anyway, thank you so much again to your boy Calvary for the follow. Keep them coming, guys. We're going to move on to the official non-gaming portion of the show. It's called The Level Up Show Has No Game. We're going to go through 3 non-gaming topics at 3 minutes each. Are we ready?
Yes.
Really?
Let's do this. First up, it has no game. Jamie Foxx is going to return as Electro in the next Spider-Man movie, which will
Time
be
out.
Spider-Man 3, I
Time
guess.
out.
Yes.
Why are we doing this? Why is this happening? Why
I-
is this happening? Why is this happening?
I thought it was like a weird April Fool. I'm so confused by this. I'm really, really confused by this announcement. Tom, are you confused by this announcement?
You know what? I was a little confused in just the fact that you would expect that Marvel would have enough desire to like just recast and just make him somebody else. But look, the way I looked at it after thinking a little bit more is like, yeah, you know what? Maybe because Jamie Foxx is a good actor. Like we can all
Yes.
agree that.
Very good.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So this definitely feels like one of those situations where he got a certain direction to act a certain way, very much in the same way that like what happened with Thor in the first couple of movies, right? So in the first two movies, he's playing it very Shakespearean, and then it's not until he gets into doing the Avengers and the team up movies, and then does Ragnarok, where you get to see more of a fun Thor, like like Thor's stock within the community, at least with fans that I've seen, has dramatically risen from where he was at the very beginning from the first movie. So this seems like it might be a similar situation. I'm willing to give it a shot.
Well, I think the question that I have is sort of related to what Phalor brought up. They've confirmed that he won't be electric blue this time. So I guess that means it's not the same Electro, right? This is a new Electro, but the same actor playing him. So are we dealing with like a multiverse thing here? Or is this literally just, hey, like we really like Jamie Foxx and it just so happens he's back to play this part again. It doesn't mean anything besides that he's good for the part.
Well, while we haven't, while I don't believe it's in the rundown for what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
I believe that the Multiverse of Madness is starting to film this month.
Okay.
So it would stand to reason that, I mean, you just brought up, 100%. I'm sure they're going to confirm that the multiverse exists where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man like exists somewhere.
Do you
else.
actually think that? Do you think they would bring back like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and shit?
Oh, I think 100% Tobey Maguire is coming back, specifically because of the fact that Sam Raimi's directing it.
That's pretty crazy to think about,
he's
actually.
producing it. He's one of the two.
Yeah, I think he I can't remember if he's producing or directing, but he is involved. You're right.
But everybody keeps calling it Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange. So if Raimi's doing it, then Raimi's going to throw his touch on there, and 100% I think we're going to get some sort of nod to Tobey Maguire. And we're also likely, I would not throw it past them to also do a nod to Andrew Garfield, assuming that Garfield would want to do it.
That would be wild, man. That'd be wild. And it's kind of crazy, too, because on the DC side of things, you've got the Flashpoint paradox going on with Michael Keaton and all the Batmans coming back. And then on the Marvel side, we're going to have Spider-Man doing the same thing. It's kind of pretty cool.
Weird.
Or at least it'll be Doctor Strange, and you'll get some nod to that.
Number 2 story of the night. Continue on with movies here. A Lion King live-action prequel is in the works. It will be from director of Moonlight, Barry Jenkins. The film, Disney said, will explore the mythology of the Lion King, including Mufasa's origin story. This is in contrast to the animated sequel for The Lion King that focused on Simba ruling as king and introducing his new daughter to the animal kingdom. I had a quote here saying, "Helping my sister raise 2 young boys during the 90s, I grew up with these characters, Director Jenkins said in a statement. Continuing on, he said, having the opportunity to work with Disney on expanding this magnificent tale of friendship, love, and legacy, while furthering my work chronicling the lives and souls of folk within the African diaspora is a dream come true." He's a great director. Moonlight, of course, won Best Picture that year with a big controversy, stealing it away from La La Land, literally, where La La Land won it. And then they're like, wait, never mind. It's actually Moonlight that won. That was kind of a crazy year. It is a great movie. So, that's already a great start. Not that Jon Favreau is not a great director. He's also a strong director. He failed, in my opinion, with the first movie. I think the first movie is bad. Like, I'm not even going to mince words here. I think it's a bad movie. I couldn't even get through it. I got about a little more than halfway through, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I don't need to watch the rest. This is not good. So how do you feel about the Lion King live action franchise and now them going back to it? Start with you, Vince.
Vince, your thoughts?
I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah. Did you see the first one?
I saw the first one, and again, it was just one of those things. Of just like, okay. That's how my reaction has been to most live action films. It's just been like, yeah, okay. And that's just me. I'm just not that much of a critic, I want to say, when it comes to that type of stuff. It's just like,
unless it's Star Wars.
They retold it. Oh yeah, well, fuck Star Wars. I'm sorry. Ruin your entire 20 years of franchise. Who gives a shit?
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything.
You shouldn't have said anything. You know this. It's just
an
instant. I can't stop it. Sorry. I apologize, chat. But no, I think it'll be interesting. I'm kind of more excited the fact it's a prequel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also kind of like, do we really need to know, like, little Mufasa? Do we need to really know? It's like one of those things. I'm not sure quite well.
I mean, we don't need another Lion King movie at all, in my opinion, but we all know why they're doing this.
Right.
I'm sure Tom can fill us in on why they're doing this.
Money,
Money! Yes,
money.
yes. I mean, the first one
Make
made
it
what, like
freaking rain, make all
$2.5
those
billion
Disney bucks
dollars?
go.
It's like the number 7 most highest grossing movie of all time or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, money machine go.
yeah.
Money machine go.
Look, man. I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't have gone with Simba's pride. Like, I'm with Vince. I don't know that I necessarily need to see how Mufasa becomes the James Earl Jones of Africa. I mean,
The James Earl Jones.
I feel like I don't need to know why Scar was evil. Scar's just evil. Just deal with it. I'm much more interested in seeing like how I think that's a much more interesting story and a better story to be told for a more teen audience for in what happens in Simba's Pride. So
Okay.
I wish they went that route.
Moving on to the final story here, Disney Plus's Miss Marvel has been cast. Her name is Iman Vellani, I want to say, a newcomer. And when I say newcomer, I mean newcomer. Like, this girl does not really even have an IMDb page. Like, this is a newcomer, which is kind of cool. According to Deadline, Vellani, who is 18 years old, won the role after a long search. Disney Plus series follows Kamala Khan, a Pakistani American teenager in New Jersey. Jersey represent, who will be the MCU's first Muslim superhero on screen. In a 2019 interview with the CBC, Vellani referred to herself as a Pakistani American Muslim teenager with immigrant parents. Ms. Marvel is expected to eventually seek into the big screen MCU. According to the CBC, Vellani has dreams of becoming a cinematographer. A Vimeo account, which is kind of the only thing people have of her, it includes a short film called Push that she directed. So that's really her only brush with the industry. So this is a huge grab for her. As far as who's working on the film, we've got Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falah, I think is how you say his name, directing duo behind the blockbuster Bad Boys for Life, which actually did really well, reviewed really well in that franchise.
It was okay.
Yeah, we'll direct some episodes of the series. Joining them in the director's bullpen is Mira Manan, a comic book TV series veteran who has directed episodes of Marvel's The Punisher, which I thought was a good show, Walking Dead, and Titans. The multiple Oscar and Emmy-winning Sharmeen Abaid Chinoy, who hails from primarily a documentary background, has also been tapped to direct episodes of the Disney Plus series. So they've got a pretty good group of talent behind this show, and I think it's really cool that they went with an unknown in this case.
And they also just got the big bump from the character from the game, to be honest. I mean, Kamala is huge now because of the game. Whether or not you like the game or not, people love her. So they got a really big boost for this character. It's going to be exciting to see what they do with her on Disney Plus.
Now, I don't know anything about the character, and I'm sure if I would have played the Avengers, I would have been filled in. But do you feel like she's a compelling comic book character based on your experience with Marvel's The Avengers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She's gonna bring a nice a younger viewpoint, I think, which really helps out too, and also kind of more of that a pure aspect of it. Like, she wants to do good, she wants to help people, she wants to do this, and that's just where we're going to kind of get back into that, which I think is going to be a little bit more fun to go back into, to see like a young person kind of tackle on that whole thing,
Yeah.
But she deals with all this self-doubt too. She constantly thinks that, she's not good enough to be in the game, like, not to give too much spoilers out, but in that character, she doesn't think she's good enough to do this and that. So I think it's a really fun character they can use that can speak to a lot of people, I think.
Nice.
What's great about Kamala is that she is what Peter Parker was in the 60s for Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. That's what Kamala can be for young kids in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She definitely is taking on that role of being the person with self-doubt, but she doesn't come with as much baggage as, say, like a Tony Stark does,
right,
or a Natasha Romanoff or a Clint Barton.
Mm-hmm.
She as Vince said, she's a little bit more pure. And she deals with a lot of the same self-doubts that I think a lot of us had at her age throughout it. So this is great, and good on Marvel for actually finding somebody who is a Pakistani American person to play this character.
There's no way they could do anything else.
Because the closest that you got for like Wonder Woman was you were able to get somebody who was Israeli, but still Mediterranean in some respects, but not quite Greek, But
yeah,
it's still
Marvel has been trying to correct the error of their ways for a little while now. First off, in the just representation of women in Marvel, but now they're also, of course, getting into a lot of diversity, not just as far as gender goes. So good on them. It's sort of long overdue, but it's either way, it's good that they're getting to that point. Another thing that was brought up in the chat, just to brush on really quick, because this was another big story this week that I didn't get to add in. Regal Cinemas closing down all of their theaters after the No Time to Die delay. I guess that's what did them in. They were like, all right, never mind. Let's shut it down.
JK, everybody.
Yeah, I can't believe No Time to Die. That's what, an entire full year delay now?
Yep.
Because it was supposed to come out in April of this year, right? Then it got pushed to November. Now it's April 21st, 2021, I think. That's like an entire full year. It's crazy.
And honestly, I almost wonder if that's going to hold. I don't know.
I wonder.
I hope it does. I really hope we're out of this thing by then.
Yeah.
But I'm not super optimistic in all honesty.
You know what? Part of me hopes that this leads to a revitalization of the mom and pop movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that maybe that can start leading into that, but who knows how. Granted, how movie studios and production houses were dealing with the big chain movie companies. Like, I don't know how they would treat a mom and pop place, but I would like to see less AMC's and Regals, and like to see more. What we used to have around where I grew up in Eatontown, New Jersey, where you had like a couple of little mom and pop places that you could have gone to as a alternative.
Yeah, or as Mike said in the chat right now, a drive-in, because that's what I've gone to twice recently, and those were sold out both times I went, doing really well, which makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Totally makes sense that those would be doing well right now. So that's kind of cool. It would be nice to see more of those spring up, because I know for me, I've got to drive about 30 minutes before I can find a drive-in. I don't think they're too abundant in America nowadays. No. So maybe that'll change in the near future. Let's do a wheel spin here, courtesy of Turtle Power, coming in tonight with the resub through Prime. We appreciate you choosing us for your Prime sub. You only get one a month, one channel a month. So choosing us, of course, means the world. Only one in New Jersey, says Doug Sillis. Only one. Wow. I thought there was at least two. That's kind of crazy.
Of drive-ins?
There's the one, Delsey. I'm just going to say Delsey Drive-In's the one.
Yeah, there's Delsey, but, aside from the ones that have been, like, impromptu that have obviously opened up since then.
Mm-hmm. 70, I'll give 75 XP to the entire room. Way to go, room. Yeah, I thought there were some in North Jersey. I thought so. Maybe Doug is talking South Jersey, because it's like a different state.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple, like, up around where I am, and maybe even further up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, guys, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are getting into the topic of the week, and that is something that's a little long overdue on this channel, but we haven't had the chance to discuss it on the show, the acquisition of ZeniMax by Microsoft. So we're gonna dive into that, what it means for the next generation, what it means for Sony, and if they respond, or if if they just keep going forward with the plan. That's all going to be discussed when we come back. So
with special guest Michael Pachter.
Yes, he's on, guys. We got him.
Oh, God.
Guys, we'll be right back. Give us about 90 seconds. Welcome back, Level Uppers, to the Level Up Show, episode 299. This is a gaming dedicated talk show on some Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm just going to say that from now on. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/levelupshow. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get those alerts whenever I go live. And also head over to Jersey_Tom. Head over to Asian Vincent 4756. Those guys up on that beautiful Sony television. Head over to those guys' channels and give them the follow. Support those that support us. They've been doing a fantastic job adding great commentary to these stories, especially Vince over the last several months, and now it's great to have Tom on board for many episodes as well. You've been great, Tom. Thank you so much for helping us out, man.
No problem, guys. Happy to be joining you.
But let's move on here to just a megaton, right? This was a megaton moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When did this happen? I think you were actually the one that alerted me of it, Vince. Was it in the morning? Was it at night? When did this drop? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I don't know, dude.
This was morning.
It was morning, right?
We reported it was morning. It was breaking news for us.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you were the one who tagged me and Mike on Discord, Vince, when this happened. And this is one of those moments, like one of the biggest gaming announcements ever. Probably the biggest acquisition I've ever seen. I would say this is bigger than Mojang by Microsoft. I don't think. I know that was like $4 billion. I know Minecraft is huge. Don't get me wrong, but we're going to get into why ZeniMax is. It's not just one property. there's a whole lot that comes along with this. Let me just ask, like, Vince, we'll start with you. What was your gut reaction when you woke up that morning and you saw Microsoft has acquired ZeniMax, which includes Bethesda?
My internal thought literally was like, "You son of a bitch! You did it! You did it!
They did it! They dipped into that fucking war chest. They did it.
They did it." And the other thing too for me, and I was like, "That's the signal. That is the signal. The beacons are lit." And I was like, this is going to become a shit show. I'm sorry for the language here, guys, but this is going to become a nightmare.
Yeah, I almost wanted to bury my head in the sand for the rest of the day. Like, I don't even want to see what's going on right now on Resetera. Of course I had to, but I was like, I'm so reluctant to even dive into that. But yeah, I get what you mean. What about you, Tom? What was your feeling when you first saw that?
I was kind of floored. I was like, whoa! I was like, that is one hell of an escalation right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I mean, typically speaking, you would expect, like, we've just become numb to the idea of, oh, well, this is going to be console exclusive for a year. You know, it's going to eventually come, but like the way that Sony was playing the game, you know, they could have just kept playing by Sony's rules that they essentially just set up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft like dabbled with the idea of, oh, we're just going to keep buying up studios so we have second party developers. But now, just like,
right,
the fact that you're pretty much taking control of all of ZeniMax, all of the Todd Howard you can have to yourself. That just blew me away when that came across my phone, and then all of a sudden, immediately after, I'm getting calls, or I'm seeing calls from the producers behind me at work, and they're just like, breaking news, ZeniMax, and I'm having to explain to these people like how big of a deal this is.
Yeah,
because none of them understood.
Yeah. You don't get it, man.
Like, why is Microsoft doing this? Who is this ZeniMax?
You don't even know.
What's Doom?
Yeah, it's I think it's worth bringing up, since you were talking about the 1-year exclusivity Sony's been doing. It's worth bringing up that not too long before this, it was like a week actually, that Sony doubled down with confirmation of exclusivity for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, 2 Bethesda games, published games. So that's what's really bizarre, and Xbox is honoring those. So we're going to have a PS5 exclusive Ghostwire Tokyo and a PS5 exclusive Deathloop for a year of IPs that are technically owned by Microsoft. That is just wild. That is so bizarre.
Microsoft currently has more PlayStation 5 exclusives coming, or for that system.
Yep, you're not lying. You're not lying. So that's kind of wild, but also kind of cool that they're honoring those, and PlayStation isn't losing those games. But
they would have been dragged into a court battle immediately. Like, they had no choice but to. But
it almost makes you wonder, like, how did this all happen, right? What was the negotiations happening behind the scenes? Sony had to know that this was going on, and I'm sure they actually were involved in the bid war, if you want to call it that, because there's no way that they have exclusivity on Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop without knowing that the parent company, the publisher of these titles, is potentially going to be acquired by Microsoft. There's no way that doesn't get to them.
And by the way, we're in talks of having exclusivity for Elder Scrolls 6, I believe.
Starfield, they were negotiating. Yeah, so there's no way. There's no way there wasn't some type of bid war going on. And honestly, that's beneficial to Bethesda and ZeniMax to activate a bid war. They want Sony and Microsoft going at each other. Now, of course, when it comes down to it, the market cap on Microsoft is what, like $1.6 trillion. On Sony, it's like $100 billion. So if it comes down to it, Microsoft will always win. They will always outbid Sony if they want to. They have the capability of doing that. Now, that doesn't mean it's a good business move or that they would do that. But in this case, I don't think there was any way that Microsoft was letting this go. Microsoft does have a good relationship with Bethesda. They've always had a good relationship with Bethesda. That's actually why I was surprised when Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo back in June or whatever that was, you were the one who said it, I think, Vince. They're like, oh my God, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are 1-year exclusive. I was like, what? That's impossible. Like, that makes no sense. Bethesda is close with Microsoft, not the other way. Like, so that was already like, this, what is going on here? And for a while there, I was wondering, Michael Pachter, we actually joked about him, he 2 years ago was predicting that Bethesda would get acquired in the next several years. He at that time said that they would go for like $10 billion. So he was a little off in that way. And in all honesty, I still think Microsoft overpaid with $7.5 billion. But
it's a huge overpay.
Yeah, I think it's an overpay myself. But knowing that and remembering that, I was like, hold on a sec. Knowing that Sony, because they've said in the near recent past, they've said we are planning on acquiring. We after Insomniac, they said we're not done. I was like, oh my god, what if they go after Bethesda? And then of course the exact opposite happens, and Microsoft gets them. But it makes sense. It makes sense to me more than Sony getting them, in all honesty. And myself, actually, I'm just going to speak personally here. I've never been that attached to the Bethesda properties. I think you guys know that. I'm not a WRPG guy. I like Doom. I like The Evil Within. But Elder Scrolls 4, I enjoyed. Skyrim didn't grab me when I tried it recently. Fallout does nothing for me. It's just not really my genre. So this is one of those times where I was like, I was like Farsender in the chat. I will be honest. I was a little bit like, no, because I don't think this is good for gaming as a whole. I think it's good for Game Pass subscribers, but that I don't think means it's good for gaming as a whole. That was my sort of my gut reaction. But then immediately following that, I was like, well, it could be a lot worse if you're a PlayStation guy like me, who doesn't really care about these IPs. Like if they got Square Enix, I would have been much, much more upset as a PlayStation 5 pre-order owner. I would have been much more upset about that than I am about Bethesda. So to Mike saying in the chat, like, this is bigger than Square Enix, for me, not at all. This is not even close to Square Enix. I think it depends on how you feel about the IPs. Now, if we're trying to be unbiased here, what do you guys think? Is this as big as a Capcom? Is this as big as Ubisoft? Is this as big as Square Enix? How big is this? Tom, how big do you think this is?
I don't think that it is. Well, I mean, look, it's a big as far as it being a PR move. It's huge. But in the grand scheme of things, as I believe I said on the Discord, by the way, if you're not a member of the Discord, go ahead and join that. And you can join in on these conversations well before.
There you go.
Way to go.
You go and do the Level Up show.
This is why you're here, Tom.
That being said, I'm an excellent plugger. But that being said, I think at the end of the day, when you look at PlayStation 4, or at least the PlayStation brand, I don't believe that when you think of that console and the brand, you don't necessarily think Western RPGs. You think more JRPGs, you're thinking pretty much more games made by Japanese developers more than anything else.
I agree.
And as well as their first-party lineups that they have, Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted, everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you are definitely thinking more along those lines. So when it comes to necessarily Fallout, I know Denny, at least as well, because I think he agrees with me too. The best way to play Fallout for anybody who's a very big fan of them is inevitably going to be the PC anyway.
Right.
So at least for their biggest game, like the big one that everybody immediately goes up to, and same thing with Elder Scrolls, as long as we're going along those lines, the best place to play any Todd Howard produced game is going to be the PC, primarily for the modding community and for the fact that chances are the community is going to fix that game well before Bethesda gets a chance to get their hands on it. So
now there are a lot of people though that have played Elder Scrolls Fallout not on PC. I know even in our community alone, I've already seen several people say, like, if Elder Scrolls is exclusive to Xbox, which we'll talk about in a moment about exclusivity, if that happens, I'm going to have to buy an Xbox.
And I'm 100% one of those guys who I would prefer to play it on PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5 as will likely be, or as likely would have happened. But at least for me, because I do have a gaming PC, I'm not saying that my experience or my situation is the same as everybody else's, but for me, I know personally, it doesn't strike me as that huge of a blow. And I don't think, but there's still part of me that doesn't think that the people who are fans of Sony aren't necessarily going to view this as an amazingly just terrible blow, aside from just the PR aspect of people being able to point and like, oh, you can't play Fallout or you can't play Elder Scrolls on your console.
What do you think, Vince? Do you feel like this is a major blow to PlayStation? Do you think this is an attack on PlayStation?
I mean, I don't think it's a major blow in the sense of like,
here. I'm just going to go full out elitist. I don't give a shit. If you want to play Fallout and Elder Scrolls correctly, you're going to play it on PC. I'm sorry. I'm actually going to be that.
PC Master Race coming out of here.
I'm actually going to do that PC Master Race.
PC Master Race.
That literally is the best way to play those.
You're right. No, I mean, there's no denying that.
There's no denying that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, too, for me, is like the thing that we're going to miss out now on PlayStation will be the things of like, you know, Ghostwire, like Tokyo, Evil Within 3, those type of projects from their other sister studios. Those are the things that we will miss.
The smaller ones, yeah.
The smaller ones that actually, for me, were actually more meaningful. Like I played Evil Within 1 and 2 on my PlayStation. I didn't play it on my PC. That's not the game I want to play on my PC. So to not have that again now on my PlayStation 5, that kind of, you know, that does hurt me in a way. So it's weird. And like the thing too is like, so with Microsoft saying that Bethesda is going to be semi-independent, what does that mean for these types of games? You know, it's like, does Elder Scrolls 6 actually come with a mod scene? You know, or is Microsoft and Bethesda going to try to do paid mods 3.0? You know,
do you think? Just, let's actually focus on that for a second. Do you think this is even Xbox Game Studios? Like, is Bethesda a part of Xbox Game Studios, or when they say they're semi-independent, is Bethesda a part of Microsoft, but still sort of their own thing?
Yeah, I think it's more of a second party situation.
That's what I'm curious about. Like, do they answer to Microsoft in the end? Like, if they say, and I think this is a good segue here, if they say we want our games to still come out on PlayStation, does Microsoft have the final say on that? I would say probably, right? They have the final say. It's like, no, you're putting this on only on Xbox, or maybe they say, no, you're putting this on PlayStation as well.
Well, yeah, and here's my things. I also think Sony will just straight up be like, if there's an Xbox Game Studio branding on that, with the current leadership, I want to say, of Sony right now, I would say Sony would look at Elder Scrolls 6 and just be like, fuck it. Like,
you don't think that? Wait, hold on. You don't think that Sony would allow that game on their platform just because it starts with Xbox Game Studios? Well, let me tell you something. Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are going to start with Xbox Game Studios.
But here's the thing, like, that was before any of those contract things happened. So, like, if they could clearly want not through that, I don't think they would that. Remember, the whole crossplay shenanigan literally came from the whole Microsoft wanted Minecraft crossplay to have an Xbox Live sign-in, and Sony was like, yeah, no. Like,
I get that. That's a different situation, though. That's literally getting somebody to sign into the ecosystem that is Xbox. That's getting people to sign up for the ecosystem that is Xbox. Having somebody get the Xbox Game Studios logo in their face, I don't think is quite as damning to PlayStation as getting those people to literally enter an ecosystem.
So then whenever you boot up Elder Scrolls 6 and you're connected to Bethesda.net, which is then now a subsidiary network of Xbox Live, you still don't think Sony's going to have an issue with it?
No, I don't think so, honestly.
I think so.
No,
I don't. Judging by the way how Sony has acted all the way on like that, no. And especially if we've been thinking about how we've all talked about this with that being a Game Pass bid.
That is a different situation. Let's talk about that. So some people think that this is a strong arm to get Game Pass on PlayStation. Pretty much saying that the only way that Bethesda/Microsoft will now allow Elder Scrolls, Fallout, all those to appear on PlayStation in any way, shape, or form is if they are available through Game Pass on PlayStation 4, PS5. So would that be enough? Would PlayStation say, finally, like, we have to give in. We can't not have Elder Scrolls and Fallout on our console. We have to have Game Pass now as well. Tom, do you think that PlayStation would give in?
No, never. No, I don't see that. I don't see Sony. This is corporate war, is what it is, and I don't see that Sony. Why would you want to have Xbox's system specifically going up against PS Now slash if they decide to make it PS Plus, like this new thing with like their instant game collection that they're doing? If they decide to make that more of a thing. No, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, we would have seen something similar already with what was long rumored with like the Switch, where we were saying, oh, maybe Game Pass or some sort of other situation is going to happen with the Switch. Or what we're seeing right now in the corporate world, where we're seeing how companies like Spotify are dealing with Apple Music and things of that nature. The fact that you are not only just that you would be competing with somebody else when you have your own service, that to me doesn't make any sense. Why you would want to
I agree.
allow that?
I'm with you. I don't think that they would allow
Considering
it.
the fact that what we've already seen and how that's already worked,
Yeah.
I would think that Sony has enough. Like Sony's very much aware of what's going on elsewhere within the entertainment industry to be able to understand that this is not something that we want. We don't want to drive people away from our own services with another service that exists on our service.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and that is assuming that these games aren't just going to come to PlayStation 5 day one anyway. I mean, that is a possibility. And another segue I think we need to take here is, what is the exclusivity arrangement going to be? If I had to guess, personally, I think that these games will eventually come to PS5. But I don't think it's going to be day one. I think that Elder Scrolls, similar to Oblivion, which had a timed exclusivity on Xbox 360, I think it's Elder Scrolls 6, I think, let's say, is 1 year exclusive to Series X. That's all it needs. You're going to get so many people buying it up in that first year. And then even when it does come to PlayStation 5, if it's a year later, it's going to be $70 on PS5. It's going to be free, in quotations here, on Xbox through Game Pass. That still is going to be a huge, huge turn to push people towards Xbox, knowing that they can get it for free, technically, through that service. So I don't think it's going to come out day one, though. I really don't think it's going to come out day one on PS5. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. It would just be like the Oblivion thing. And so, like, again, the question then would be like, so like if Elder Scrolls 6 has DLC, does the PS5 version get a game of the year, quote unquote, version of it? Or do they do the whole stick and spiel of it going through, like, you know, this is the base release, then you can buy all the DLC day in one? Not that Bethesda does that anymore now, because that was the benefit of Oblivion when it came out on PS3, was that you bought Oblivion, you got all the DLC except for like the horse armor and Occam's Razor and like the Mage's Tower. There's like 3 little mini DLCs that you did not get. But you actually got like the big expansion, the 2 big expansion packs that came with it. And that was actually cheaper, I think, when it came out on PS3.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just, again, it's one of those things to where it's just like, I don't know what they're going to do.
Let's talk about what we think they're going to do through Nadella, because he did, of course, talk a lot about this. Phil Spencer's talked a lot about this. Let's go to CNET here. Satya Nadella, what's his official title? Is he like president? Like what is he of Microsoft? Like what is he considered? I honestly don't know.
He's CEO, isn't he?
CEO. Yeah, he's pretty much as high up as you can get. Let's just say that. He's the boss of Phil Spencer in the end. Here's what he had to say. You can't wake up one day and say, let me build a game studio, Nadella said in an interview after the company announced $7.5 billion cash purchase. By the way, that is true. Cash it was a cash purchase.
Cash money.
Cash money. $7.5 billion cash money.
You don't have to write checks when you're rich, baby. Straight cash, homie.
Of ZeniMax Media, which owns several industry-leading game developers, including Bethesda, Softworks, and id Software. Quote, the idea of having content is so we can reach larger communities. So first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to call bullshit on this. I get what he's saying, but it's still bullshit, because literally at this very moment, they are building a game studio called The Initiative. So you're doing it. Like, you can do it. If you wanted to spend the time and the money, less money than $7.5 billion. But if you wanted to spend the time and the money, you could certainly build these studios. You do not need to buy out these other studios. So bullshit, but I get it.
It's all lies.
That's why Microsoft will consider buying even more video game companies in the future, he said, and why it continues to invest in its Xbox Game Pass subscription service. It's not over yet, Snake. It's not over yet. Quote, content is just the incredible ingredient to our platform that we continue to invest in, Xbox head Phil Spencer said in the same interview. This doubles the size of our creative organization. Something worth touching on real quick. They have now 23 studios. They went from 8 studios not that long ago, like 2 years ago, guys. It was Sony with 13, Xbox with, I believe, 8. Then Xbox went up to 13 in 1 year. They acquired 5 studios. PlayStation went up to 14 because they acquired Insomniac. And then Xbox acquired another couple, like Double Fine, and there was one other one on top of that. And then by acquiring Bethesda, they acquired 8 studios. So they are now 23 versus 14 with Sony.
Yeah. They nearly tripled the amount that they have.
Yes. So it's actually become very imbalanced. the number of studios and developers that each of these have. Spencer also said that Bethesda will run semi-independently in an effort to keep the company building games that brought it its success in the first place. Quote, "It is about the culture of those teams," he said. "They're not about becoming us." Jason Schreier put out a tweet not too long after all this broke. He said, "To answer the question everyone is asking, Phil Spencer says that Xbox plans to honor the PS5 exclusivity commitment for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Future Bethesda games will be on Xbox, PC, and, quote, other consoles on a case-by-case basis." So, already kind of leading into that idea that, some games might, day one, be on PS5. But, those real big ones, like Fallout, like Elder Scrolls, like Starfield, are those going to be day one on PS5? It's going to be a long time, honestly, before we know that. I think I don't think Elder Scrolls is around the corner. I don't think Starfield is around the corner, although I do think it might be 2022. Not as far away as
You have
Elder
a lot
Scrolls.
more faith than I do.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
When do you think Starfield comes out?
I don't think we're seeing that until, at the very least, holiday 2023.
Mm-hmm.
At least.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being more conservative with it, I'm saying I don't see this until 2025.
Oh yeah, I don't think it'll be that long. I think the fact that Sony was kind of making a bid for Starfield tells me that it might be closer than some were expecting. I would have been originally with you, maybe 2023, 2024, but after hearing that, I feel like it might be a little sooner than I was originally predicting. So yeah, this is interesting. We don't know yet. It's definitely a mystery for the upcoming years, because we're gonna have to wait and find out what this whole thing means. But I do think we now need to talk about Sony and what they need to do. Like I just said, 14 studios versus 23. Right now, Sony's in great shape. They've got an amazing year one. Absolutely amazing year one. One of the best first years to any console I've ever seen. But year two, year three, when Xbox starts firing on all cylinders with these 23 studios they have in their pocket, will Sony be able to keep up? If they can't keep up, what do you think they have in planning to combat this? As I said earlier, it's not like we're going to stop acquiring studios. After Spider-Man and Insomniac, they said, no, we're going to keep going after studios. Acquisitions will still happen. Building out new studios will still happen. So does that shift, though, towards some of the smaller guys that we've been predicting? We've been saying Housemarque. We've been saying Bluepoint. We've been saying Kojima, which I don't know if we would say is small, but, we've been saying those kind of guys. Is there any chance that this kind of event happening has pushed Sony towards considering somebody like Capcom, Konami, Square Enix, even Ubisoft? Is that a possibility, Vince?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm totally split on. I'm split 3 different ways, to be honest, because part of me is like, Sony's going to do what they have been doing, which is they're going to build a relationship with the development company, and they work with them well. They get folded in, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw some very close calls with that, like Quantic Dream. I honestly think if all that shit that didn't came out with Quantic Dream, with all that stuff that came through, I think we would have seen Quantic Dream.
I agree 100%. Yep.
So I think we'll still see that from Sony. The other part of me is if they do a big acquisition, really who fits the bill for that? And what they can't absorb something that big like Microsoft can. I mean, we've said that before. Microsoft has the ability to sit there and just absorb something and kind of just be whatever about it. Sony, not nearly as much. They're, they just don't have that much money to spend in comparison to Microsoft. The other part of me that's been sort of more the quieter voice is what if they just go in the opposite direction that we're all thinking, and instead of buying game development studios, they just buy game development tools, as in buying rad game tools, doing a bigger stock in Epic. What happens then if they start playing that type of game to where oh, you're just going to try to make games like that? Well, we just get a cut of every single game made, period. I don't know how that stuff works, but you know what I'm saying? What if that's Sony's kind of whole shindig now?
Sure.
It's we're going to make games faster. We're going to make games better. We're going to keep doing this whole thing, but we're not going to sit there and spend money on talent, because talent can be bought and shifted around. But the actual technical stuff, you can still, I don't know. It's weird. I'm split those 3 ways.
It's interesting to see, it's literally unanimous right now. Every single person that's voted so far has said Square Enix. And I'm not surprised, because there is an established relationship there, right? PlayStation has worked strongly with Square Enix for decades now. Final Fantasy is still almost synonymous with PlayStation, even after it started off with its first 6 games being exclusive to Nintendo. But everybody nowadays knows Final Fantasy as almost synonymous with PlayStation. And JRPGs in general have always been really strong on the PlayStation platform. So this doesn't surprise me. Just to fill you guys in, my understanding is Square Enix is a little bit more expensive than Bethesda would be. I think their market cap is somewhere around like the $8 billion range, but that doesn't take into account the premium that Sony would probably need to spend in order to actually acquire them. It'd probably be closer to a $9-10 billion acquisition in order to get somebody like Square Enix. Can Sony do that? Let me make it clear. Yes, they can do that. They can certainly do that. But that's a lot of money for them.
It's a lot of money to delve into specifically just one aspect of their company.
Right.
I mean, you have to remember, like, what Sony actually is. Like, it is a huge conglomerate of a whole bunch of different little bits and pieces of things. Like, mainly a lot of the equipment that I work with at work. By the way, everybody, I work in TV. A lot of that, all the actual technical equipment, a lot of that's all Sony.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does Sony, like, by and large, want to devote $10 billion to acquire a single company to compete with their one competitor
I don't think that they want to. Let me just say that. I don't think they want to, but they might be forced to because of what Nadella just said about this not being the end. They're going to keep acquiring. He kind of made fun of me for the way I worded this the other night, but it kind of turned this not into just an acquisitions war, but an acquisitions race war because it's now almost become a race to the next one. And if Sony doesn't enter that race, they're just allowing Microsoft to go after these big Japanese publishers like a Square Enix, like a Sega, like a Capcom, like a Konami. So if they do nothing at all, they might just be saying, yeah, take them. And I don't know that Sony wants to let that happen. I don't think that we as gamers honestly want that to happen.
No.
Because Max Sandwich brings up a good point. The other side of this is Google, Apple, all that. If all of them start doing this, Sony, Google, Apple, if they all start buying up studios and it's consolidation left and right, that is not good. That is a bad thing for this industry. And I'm not like blaming Microsoft for getting this started, but that's kind of what they did.
They kind of did that, but I think this goes back again to what we were talking about when we were talking specifically about when the Xbox Game Conference came out, and we were talking about, well, you know, it's kind of weird because these guys aren't really talking up their console so much. They're not like going like really in depth into, you know, why you need to get an Xbox Series X or a Series S at the time. Like everything, all of that seems to have been very subdued. I don't know where Microsoft sees itself in the next 10 years if they still consider themselves to be a console making company.
According to a story we'll get to later, yes, they do. We'll talk about that.
They say that they do, but I still have like personal thoughts, at least in my respect, where I think that they are definitely trying to hedge themselves to be more of either a publishing house or just being their own service, very similar to what Stadia is, but very much in the same way. We're not going to see Stadia as a service on PlayStation either. So I don't necessarily know if maybe Sony doesn't see, or Microsoft doesn't just see themselves potentially in the future just being a publishing house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. X1 Bros is here. Great to have you here, Dave. He says, I do think Microsoft's next move is a Japanese-based studio. Yes, they have to. They have to.
Yes,
they're missing that. And it's interesting because you brought it up, Tom. This is sort of Microsoft just strangling the genre of WRPGs, right?
Yes.
So would it make sense for PlayStation to do the same thing on what they're known for and put a stranglehold on Japanese RPGs, and then it's like, if you want Japanese RPGs, you go PlayStation. If you want Western RPGs, you go Xbox. Or does PlayStation try and get back into the genre of Western RPGs by going after Larian or going after the guys that did Disco Elysium, or like, you know, like, do they try and get back into that genre at all, or they just say, guys, we lost it? Like, they've got it. They've got like all the WRPGs now. Let's just give it up.
You just tell one of your companies already. You tell like Don't Nod, for instance, like, hey guys, instead of making another open world game, how about you try making a Western RPG? You know, like maybe like just throw that out there. Just give them a couple of pitches and just be like, look, guys, like I don't know what those guys specifically were like looking to make for their next game, but
yeah. Here,
you know,
my response to that would be,
I don't know how many open world games we still need moving on into the next generation of consoles. Let's see Western RPG from that.
Response to that would be Western RPG is a genre that is not easy to tackle. That is one of the most specialized genres. Like, if you go to anybody and you're like, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn's a WRPG, God of War's a WRPG, they will be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That doesn't have decisions that change the story. That doesn't have these stat-changing things. Like, it's a very specialized, specific thing to be considered a Western RPG. And Bethesda, specifically their studios within Bethesda, have mastered what the Western RPG is. It's not easy to get into that. So can Sony take one of their existing studios and be like, guys, we need you to make a Western RPG? They can, but I don't know that a lot of people would, first off, even consider it to be a Western RPG. And if they actually did go for it, it would be tough for them to achieve it, I bet you, on their first try. Not saying they shouldn't do it. I do think they shouldn't give up on that genre. I think that would be a really poor decision on Sony's part to just give up and say, they got it, let's just focus on what makes PlayStation. I'm not saying either that they shouldn't do that, because I think there's obviously a certain quality of game and certain genre and all this that PlayStation is known for, but I certainly don't think that Western RPG should be given up on the PlayStation side of things.
Well, absolutely not.
Vince,
part of that probably likely come from them maybe even poaching talent to come and develop something.
Yeah, that's a possibility, right? I mean, they are building their own studio supposedly too. Like right now, they're working on a studio that's been rumored for years now to be working on the spiritual successor or the actual successor to Uncharted. Like Sony's been known for that. That's, they're also known for acquiring, don't get me wrong. And back in the 90s and early 2000s, they kind of did their own acquisition spree. But since then, they actually really calmed down. I don't know, like, if you guys didn't realize, they've closed down many more studios than they've acquired in the last decade. They actually were around like 16, 17 at one point, and they shut down a ton. And they really didn't make any acquisitions for years and years and years. And then they finally picked up Insomniac. That was the first time they've picked up a studio in a long ass time, probably since Media Molecule back in what would that be? Early 2010s, I guess, is when that happened, around the Little Big Planet stage. That was probably the last acquisition they made. I think Sucker Punch was before that, right? If I had to guess. So it's been a while up until Insomniac popped up. So yeah, it begs the question of, like, is this going to put a fire up their ass, light a fire under their ass to get them back on this acquisition spree? Or maybe they've got some stuff up their sleeve. Maybe they're not just working on one studio that they're building right now. Maybe there's a couple, and maybe they've already got things in the work to get Housemarque on board, to get Bluepoint on board. I think those are acquisitions that make a lot of sense, where I don't think that's going to upset too many people, because there's already that strong relationship, right? It was kind of like when Insomniac happened. There wasn't, like, people will say there's a lot of hypocrisy right now, right? It's like, why weren't you upset when Insomniac was acquired by PlayStation? And it's the same thing, don't get me wrong. It's them acquiring a studio that could have put out third-party games. The difference is, like, how often did they actually do that? They put out Sunset Overdrive and a couple other third-party things and some virtual reality.
Fuse.
Yeah, like, but for the longest time, like, they were essentially second-party. So it wasn't really that upsetting for most people when they acquired Insomniac. It was like, well, yeah, weren't they already exclusive to PlayStation? That was what I saw most of the time, was this, what does this even matter? Because it's like almost like they were second-party to begin with. And that would have happened the same thing with Quantic Dream. If they acquired them, it would have been like, wait, they weren't exclusive already? They did Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human exclusively to PlayStation. This affects nobody. So that's the kind of thing I think PlayStation should keep with, is taking in studios that are already so closely tied to PlayStation, but making sure that they are there to stay, that you can grow them and build them and groom them in the same way that you've done with so many other great studios within your teams. So, but going to you, Vince, real quick, of the poll, and if you want to go to another publisher on your list in your mind, who do you think that they should go after if they had to? They were forced to. If they were Microsoft's on the move. They're going after other publishers, specifically Japanese publishers. They're on the move, Vince. You are Jim Ryan.
Oh God.
What do you do?
No.
What do you do?
Everyone hates me. I don't want to be Jim Ryan.
What do you do?
Honestly,
Keanu Reeves' voice. What do you do?
Honestly, I mean, it's honestly between Square and Capcom, right? I would have to say Square because it would make more sense. Because like in the Capcom's the same way too. Like you win both sides of the coin there. With Square, you get Final Fantasy and you get a whole bunch of anime as well, which would be the other side business for Sony. And the same thing with Capcom too. But then Capcom, you get all those classic IPs back as well. You know, Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter. I mean, could you imagine the literal world on fire if Monster Hunter World 2 was exclusive to PlayStation 5? Yeah,
that game did amazing. Yeah.
Mega Man Legends 3 exclusive to PS5.
That would be cool, right? Because that was already a PlayStation, Mega Man franchise or whatever you want to call it. So that would be kind of cool. I'm right on that, correct? Wasn't Legends exclusive to PlayStation at one time?
Was it?
No, I thought it was an N64 game. Then
Really?
Came over to the PS1.
Wasn't there a Mega Man game or like tagline that was only on PlayStation?
So there's a big part of me that's thinking like it was part of the Dreamcast at one point.
I could be wrong on that. Forget that then. Yeah. The Capcom is firing on all cylinders right now. Resident Evil is the biggest it's ever been. They're just pumping those games out, remakes and
arguably Monster Hunter 2 is the biggest it's ever been, especially now with a new movie trailer just dropping.
Oh Jesus!
God, just don't even bring that up, man.
Yeah,
forget that even exists. Holy shit!
Hey, Mila Djokovic and Capcom have a beautiful relationship together.
Jesus.
And Senpai, yes, of course, Mega Man started on NES. I just thought that there was a certain like subtitled Mega Man franchise, or if you want to call it that.
There were certain X games that were on.
That's what I was saying. Like X4 and X5, I think, were PS1 exclusive.
And then going beyond that, I think it was also 7 and 8, 6, 7, 8 were also there.
Yeah, they were like
Another thing to keep in mind, if they get Square Enix, they also get Eidos, which means they're bringing Tomb Raider back exclusive to PlayStation. That would be kind of wild, right? Like,
and if they got Eidos back, that also would mean
Deus Ex.
Oh my God, please.
So there's some big ones. Personally, I think that Capcom, Square Enix are just as big as Bethesda. Kind of like a very different take. It's very Japanese focused, obviously, but I would say the strength of the catalog of IPs on those two publishers is just as strong as the strength of Bethesda, and that's why actually, if you look at the hold on,
you good?
I got scared.
Are you getting all choked up?
I got scared. I got all choked up. Getting all choked up, man. I was gonna say that's actually why Square Enix and I think even Capcom are even more expensive than Bethesda. So and I think they overpaid. I think they overpaid. Do you guys agree with me? I think 7.5 billion is too much.
I think it was an overpay.
I think it was a slight overpay, for sure. But we won't know until we see exactly where.
The games are going, right? Especially if these games are coming out day one on PlayStation, I'd be like, what the fuck? Why did you spend $7.5 billion on these things? And you're putting them out on PlayStation? That makes no sense to me. I don't get that at all.
There's no chance of that personally. I think there's no chance that they're day one. I don't think they're coming to PlayStation at all, period.
So you don't think at all, Tom?
No. I don't think Sony wants anything to do with anything saying Xbox Game Studios or Microsoft Game Studios.
I'm truly with Tom on that. They're not going to
I disagree. That is not the reason, in my opinion. I think if it's not coming to PlayStation, it's because Xbox does not want to come into PlayStation. I don't think there's any chance in hell that PlayStation's like, it says Xbox Game Studios. I'm not going to allow this 10 million seller on our console to not appear here. I think that would be insane.
Did you ever look at the split on that? I think Skyrim sold only 2.5 on PlayStation.
That was during the 360 generation, of course.
I still even think here on PlayStation, it's not been a strong earner. More people bought it on Xbox because of the whole mod situation for PlayStation, even with it being the more popular platform. I mean,
okay.
I'm
just gonna say, like, if it doesn't come to PlayStation, I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because they want people to become a part of the ecosystem of Xbox. I do think that there's a slight chance of timed exclusivity. You taking a break, Tom? That's fine. I do think there's a chance of timed exclusivity. Like 1 year, something like that. But I don't think it's day one. I'm with Tom there. I don't think there's any chance in hell this thing is coming out day one on PlayStation.
Yeah. And also, I just want to make a thing, because I saw some people saying why not From Software? From Software is like impossible for
anyone to get.
Isn't it part of
other
like
than
Katakawa
Microsoft.
or something like that now?
It's part of Katakawa, and that's like
Yeah.
literally, it's almost the exact same amount of money as like for Square Enix, but you're buying a company that does a whole bunch of other things like educational manuals and whatnot for just one software development.
Yeah, so the only way it does happen is if somehow Sony is, we only want this. Like, how much does it cost to get this from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be the only way they would do it.
Yeah.
So
Going
just
back
so
to
everyone
something
knows.
Mike said, and I won't agree with, he said hot take. I don't think it's a hot take. This is less anti-consumer, if you want to go back to the buzzword right now,
God.
for Microsoft to acquire Bethesda than for Sony to acquire Bethesda. Because I do think if Sony acquired Bethesda, there's no way in God's green earth are they putting that on Xbox. It is exclusive to PlayStation. They're not putting that anywhere else. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
there
don't
is
know.
a chance, there actually is a chance that this still goes to PlayStation. And even if it doesn't go to PlayStation, it's coming to PC. It is coming to Game Pass. I think if it came out, I think if it was Sony, it would also come out on PC. I will say that because we're already seeing that with like Square Enix and Final Fantasy 16. So I do think it would
Yeah.
come out on PC if it was on PlayStation. But I don't think there's any chance in hell it comes out on Xbox if PlayStation acquired the studio.
Yeah.
So-
They would have been like, yeah, nah, nada. Zilch.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Gravy Biscuit says PS5 is still going to outsell Xbox this gen guaranteed. I would agree overall they will outsell them, but the question is like how much ground do they give up to Xbox? They're going to give up some ground. There's no way that Xbox
Yeah.
Series X performs as poorly as the One X does or One S does. They're going to gain back some ground. So it just becomes a question of how much. If they acquire a Japanese studio or a publisher, that also is going to be a huge deal. It's going to gain ground worldwide. I think, especially in America, we're going to go back to a more PS3 360 generation where it's pretty even between PS5 and Xbox.
And everyone needs to remember, it all takes is just one fumble out of the gate, and the momentum completely changes. So it's not a done deal until we're talking about this a year from now, and we get to see the analytics of where the market's going. Like, I don't know. Like, I definitely think it's going to be a much more even split. I think there's definitely much more of a consumer shift. There's a lot more factors in play right now with $70 games, $100 games now, compared to a service that, you spend $14.99 for the Ultimate Edition. Like, yeah, no, things are different. So I don't think it's a guarantee that they outsell Xbox. It's just a matter of, do they continue out there the entire generation, or does Xbox overtake?
Right. Right. Dave from X1 Bros. I'm curious. We talked about this earlier, but I would really like your take on it. We were wondering if this is a power move to get Game Pass on PlayStation. You're saying it's all about Game Pass. We agree. This is 100% about Game Pass. Well, I don't know if I say that. I do think this is an attack on PlayStation as well. This is not just this is just to build out Game Pass. We don't care about PlayStation. They don't matter to us. They can keep saying that Google and Apple is their competition now and all this. I personally, I don't buy that. PlayStation is still in their mind. They're still attacking PlayStation. But this is a major Game Pass move. Is it to try and get Game Pass on PlayStation? Do you actually think that could happen? Do you think PlayStation would give in to get Elder Scrolls and Fallout on PlayStation if it meant it was only through Game Pass? I think we here think that it's a possibility that's the idea, that's the power move, but PlayStation wouldn't allow it. I don't think PlayStation would give in. Not for just this. I think if they also get something like Square Enix and they're like, yeah, the only way you get Final Fantasy on PlayStation is through Game Pass, now we're talking something different, in my opinion. I think there is a line that can be crossed.
Yeah, no, Eero, they have not raised the price on Game Pass. It has to raise sometime.
They will.
But currently, right now, it is $14.99 for Game Pass Ultimate, which gets you Game Pass Gold, EA Access, and all the perks and benefits of that.
They did raise it on
membership.
PC, I thought, recently.
They went from the beta price of $5.99 to $9.99.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're only doing that and you didn't have a console, I saw a lot of people dip out of the PC one because it was like the PC Game Pass is not equal to the console Game Pass. And that's the big issue right now, is that like it's literally cut the entire catalog, I think almost 3/4. It's literally it's bad. It's slim pickings in comparison. So when they raise up to $10, people are like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm curious to see if the PC version of Game Pass and the console version continue to sort of separate themselves. Where me as a PC guy feeling right now like I don't really care about this no matter what because I'm going to be upgrading my PC next year. I'm still going to play these games. I wonder if it's going to get to a point, well, hey, if you're Game Pass PC, you don't get it the same day or this and that. Like, I wonder if they start to gradually start screwing over the PC guys. I don't think so.
I mean, you've known me. I always think there's a conspiracy behind that somewhere. I know the PC community is going to get shafted sooner or later.
You
at
think
some
so?
point. Whether, yeah, I mean, everyone can say I'm stupid or insane, which I mean, it's fine. It's an
You
insane
are
idea.
insane.
But I mean, at some point, Microsoft is going to have a gold multiplayer charge on PC games. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't care what anyone tries to say. And the other thing too is it's just going to be a whole bunch of other, microtransactions in a lot of games is going to be a big thing too for Game Pass. That's where they're going to make a lot of their money back on that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a question of like, how do they make back the $7.5 billion?
And it just depends on what model that you're thinking that they're going to do those microtransactions, though. Do you think that they're still going to follow the model of that COD and Fortnite do with a season pass model, or what we're seeing with fighter passes, or do you think you're going to go back to traditional microtransactions?
No, we're going to see what they're doing with currently is going the thing right now. Well, I think about Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's going to have competitive seasons on top of cosmetic skins, on top of a battle pass, on top of, what other microtransactions they want to do, on top of story content they're going to want to do, right?
So you're just saying that they're just going to throw the entire kitchen sink at the wall.
That's what's going to happen because the thing is, too, if it's Game Pass, it's free. Who cares? Same thing with the whole Fable MMO. Honestly, it's a Destiny-like game. If the rumors are to believe, okay, so then you have a cosmetic store that you buy certain outfits or certain things from that for Fable. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm letting people know. I actually don't care about that model. I think it's great, companies that do it. But that's what's going to start overtaking Game Pass because that's where they make not only the Game Pass money, but then they also make money on every individual purchase inside that Game Pass service, which is a great thing for developers. That's why it's so successful. But that's where they're going to start doing that, They're going to start doing that whole thing because that's where the games are going to make their money back. You're not spending that $60 or $70 or $80 or $100 right then and there to get that game day one. You are paying that $14.99 subscription, but hey, when you log in, that battle pass is $10. That premium battle pass is $20. That Master Chief for Halo 4 skin is $4.99. That makes sense to me. That's just where.
And I know that's that's that model. You don't have a problem with it, but I know for you that's sort of unattractive. I know it's unattractive to me. I wouldn't want PlayStation to go in that direction as much as I realize that there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, and it might be a great business move to go in that direction. I just hope gaming as a whole doesn't really continue going down that path. I think it would be a detriment to players like myself.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's why I'm glad that they've sort of distanced themselves in their methodology and their logic and whatever you want to call it, their business logic of what they want to be. PlayStation, Xbox seem to be going down very different paths in that way, and it's kind of cool to see, and kind of makes it not so much a console war as much as I still think it's there. It makes it less of a console war and just them doing their own things and going after a different piece of the pie. So good conversation, you guys.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Very
GG, guys. GG's. Let's do 3 wheel spins here for Duroc coming in with that damn scare tip. You son of a bitch. Thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate it. We got 50 plus. Wait for it. Spin again. Oh my! There it goes. 50 plus 75. That's 125. And finally, spin, you damn wheel. Spin. There it goes. 125 plus 50. We'll do 175 to the entire room. Way to go, room. And with that, let's actually go to another quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into the level update. We're going to talk about some of the PS5 stuff that is leaked this week. Leaked and officially released this week. So the next gen conversation continues. Hold on tight, X1 bros. We'll be back in approximately 2 minutes. Welcome back, Level Uppers, to the Level Up Show, episode 299. This is a gaming dedicated talk show on some Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're enjoying the stream and the conversation at any point, please hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/levelupshow. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get alerts whenever I go live Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays are always variety gaming. Sundays typically variety gaming, and sometimes this here talk show. We also got Vince and Tom joining me tonight, so please support them. Give them the follow. They are streamers as well at Jersey_Tom and Agent Vincent 4756. They'll put themselves in the chats.
There you go.
Maybe I will.
I saw
Also,
the movie
can
last night.
were they able to
It
hear
was
us
the
during that
best
commercial
damn
break?
movie ever.
No.
No. All right. Well, I
Oh,
want to say
all
thank
right.
you to X1 Bros for the insight that he gave on the gamepad stuff. I agree with you. Mobile is the way to go for them.
Oh yeah,
So,
if they want the
Yeah,
biggest
I
audience, without a doubt. Yeah.
just
I don't
wanted
think
to
that.
say thank you. Oh God, I'm sorry, Drew.
I don't think that means that they're not going to go after PlayStation, but
He said that though. He says he doesn't think it goes to PlayStation. He doesn't
Yeah.
think Sony would do it, and I don't think Microsoft. He thinks Microsoft did it for that reason. He don't think that Microsoft did it for that reason.
no, I don't think that was their primary reason. I definitely don't think that, but I think it might be like a part of it. I think that there's a little bit of a power play maybe going on there. I think that they would not be opposed to Game Pass being on PlayStation.
By the
Myself.
way, I want to give a big oof to Max Sandwich out there. I'm a big Xbox fanboy ever since the OG Xbox. I had to pay an eBay scalper $750 for
Oh
my
man.
order.
I think that's deserving of a Lara oof, but unfortunately we have sound alerts turned off. You guys,
Yeah.
but
That's a big time oof.
that's a big oof right there. But yeah, I mean, I've got some fond memories of the Xbox actually. Not because I owned it, but man, I would be lying if I didn't say I enjoyed those Halo parties. You know, bringing their Xboxes to one
absolutely.
place and connecting them, and
Dude, college was fantastic.
good
for that.
times, man. Good times. Yeah. Xbox, you know, it got demolished by PS2, but it also did some really cool things at that time. It's ahead of its time in a couple ways.
Oh, yeah,
I
for
think you
sure.
can say that for Dreamcast as well. Actually, even more
Helped
so.
out people with their biceps having to lift the Duke.
The Duke.
Yeah.
The
Most
Duke.
comfortable controller I ever held.
Anyway, thank you so much to Derek the Nine Fox and for Rose City Matt for hitting us hard with the scare tips. We're now up close to $40, which means that we have hit 30-minute after show. If we can get $20.02 more tonight, we are upgrading. We are leveling it up to 60-minute, full hour, full chub after show.
Full extension.
Full
my.
maximum extension, full chub after show. So if you guys want to keep on what the scare tips, I'll do it. I'll take them in.
You'll suffer.
I'll
through
suffer.
it.
Why are we here, Vince?
Just to suffer,
Just to
Drew.
suffer. Just to suffer.
Just to suffer.
But we got a lot more great conversation coming your way, guys. Let's not take any more time. Let's get into our discussion of the month's biggest gaming industry news. Let's get into the level update.
Oh, he's doing the mic
Stop it,
thing.
stop it,
He's doing the mic
Stop it!
thing.
You even look like Mike when you do it.
That's
Get out of here with that.
why I'm wearing the hat, so I can
Yeah.
look like I'm bald.
Oh my God.
Wow. Is he here? Mike. Ah! No.
Take it and you will like it.
You okay, Vince?
Yeah, I'm good.
That one's the worst, honestly. I think 1337 is worse than 1666. I hate Drew Barrymore with all the fibers of my being, but I think 1337 might be the scariest one. That
Oh,
one
yeah.
gets me, man. That one gets me every single time. All right. Anyway, let me rewind a little bit here, guys. Let's talk about PS5 a little bit. Not that we weren't already. We were already talking about PS5 a little bit, but let's go a little further. We're still waiting on that UI, man. People were hoping that we would get a little bit today with Japan YouTubers, VTubers, whatever they're called, getting their hands on. It was actually hands off with PS5. But it was really just about seeing some Masterbot, seeing them use the controller, getting a little bit of actual gameplay for those and some really nice angles and shots. You guys should check out. I think 4Gamer had some of my favorites. Oh man, some of those shots. I personally, even more so than when we first saw it on this video up on screen right now, I really, really like the look of this console now. What about you guys? How do you feel about it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll have to rearrange stuff, but I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be real large, but I'm probably going to put it behind my monitor here, is what I'm thinking. Not going to have a good look at it, but yeah, it's probably the only place it can fit for me, unfortunately. I don't mind the size, really, too much. But I think it's very attractive. What do you think, Tom?
I got decent shelving space. Like, I'm not too worried about it fitting on with anything else like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a handsome looking console. I just wish we got more insight on whether or not we can change out those panels and maybe like try to do more custom colors and things of that nature.
I would not be surprised at all. Looking
That-
at the the pics of it separated out and what the panel looks like on its own, it seems like it's relatively easy to detach and put other ones on. So I would be kind of surprised if they didn't go that route.
Dude, I want my full on wood paneling. I want my wood paneling on that thing.
You want them to go like 360 generation with the faceplates, kind of.
Oh, absolutely. I hope that
Yeah.
those are like face plates that you can just like swap in and out. That would be
kind of
fantastic.
cool. I'm with you. I think that would be kind of cool. But even though we didn't get like official UI stuff today, there have been some leaks this week, supposedly, about the UI. Let's start with some news about backwards compatibility. This, I think, was taken. Do you know, Vince, how this was gathered?
This was in the actual PlayStation website for where they
That's
actually
what
have
I
a
thought.
URL for it, and they're actually able to pull the HTML, like not the code, but like they're actually able to see like what the fields actually said in it. So like this is actually what is on the website that is currently not active right now. That's what they did. They were able to find a directory and still pull the information. That's just kind of how this works. So this is pretty much like the only like legitimate leak that we got from this whole thing. But
Gotcha. So backwards
go for it.
compatibility. There is something on the website. It's at a dead link now. There was PS5 backwards compatibility for more details. It said playing PS4 games on PS5, some functionalities available on PS4 may not be available. Makes sense. They've got to cover themselves there, right? Even if it's 99%, they got to cover themselves. Same with the next one. This PS4 game isn't supported with your PS5's current system software. We're continuing to make more PS4 games playable on PS5. Update your PS5 and then try playing the game. So, I mean, if you think about it, there's like what, 4,000 plus games?
There's 4,000
on PlayStation. So even if it was 99% of them worked, you're still gonna get what, like 40 games that don't work on PS5. So yeah,
Like, what 40 of those games are there? Probably trash tier stuff that we don't care
probably
about
yeah,
anyway.
but still they got to cover themselves. Another one that we saw on the website: this PS4 game isn't supported with your PS5. Oh, that's actually the same one. PS5 boost mode enabled. Confirmation. PS5 boost mode.
Boost.
Boost. This is kind of their version of like smart delivery in a way. This is put your game into PS5 or same as PS4 Pro, and a lot of games are just going to get, if it's an unlocked frame rate, it's going to maximize the frame rate. If it's dynamic resolution, it's going to, maybe maximize the resolution or make it more consistent, or, that's pretty much what's going to happen here. Now, do we think it's the same as PS4 boost mode, or do we think it's like its own PS5 boost mode that's taking advantage of the capabilities of this hardware?
It is their own. It's not PS4 boost mode. The PS4 boost mode for the Pro was because of the double GPU size and how they scale back that down. So like it was like let other games like, okay, you can tap into like this little bit of extra horsepower, but then again for certain games that broke because of frame logic, things like that, right? From everything that I have read, and this might be a jump, and I'm fine with being wrong on this, so everyone can understand, I'm fine with being wrong on things. This to me is pretty much the exact same thing as to what Xbox is backwards compatibility is, because we had the technical talk behind that. It's a wrapper emulator for Xbox, and all it does just lets the games use the powerful hardware. There's really actually no tinkering of code and things like that. It's just allowing it to be happening. I think it's the exact same thing here, to where like something like Monster Hunter, World, with that performance mode, with that dynamic frame rate limit, it's going to be 60 frames. I don't think we're going to see things that go up to like 120 frames. We're not seeing that. That's a very specialized thing. And even Microsoft had to temper expectations behind it, saying like, no, we have to go back in and adjust those games to enable that,
Right.
So, but yeah, I think this is much more of you're getting an actual boost out of your game. You're playing the games at the native PS5 frequency clock for CPU and GPU, and you're going to get that benefit from that.
Sounds good. Going over to the controller, forced vibration adaptive triggers. Sounds like it might be a possibility here, because there was a little code in here saying trigger effect required. So it seems like it might be up to the developer potentially to, say like, you have to turn on the trigger with this game. There's no option to turn it off. Like this is built into maybe the functionality of this game, mechanics of this game, something like that. Same with vibration function required is another one that we see here.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure about this one. This one seemed weird to me because it was like they couldn't be this deaf on the accessibility issue, right? Like I was like, that just felt weird to me that that's somewhere in here. It made
Once again,
me
is it just
wonder-
to cover themselves, like if for the future? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get
like
either.
a cover thing. You can't do everything that they did for accessibility that they did in The Last of Us 2, and then
Right.
turn around and just be like, "Lol, accessibility. Who needs it?"
Lol.
Yeah.
Console sharing. So, a quote here: if the console sharing and offline play setting is enabled on your PS5, players aged 18 plus who aren't PS Now subscribers will be able to play PS Now games from the game's shortcut icon displayed on the PS5 home screen, as well as in the PS Now app. Ignoring the specific PS Now bit, this suggests that PS5 will bring forward the primary account model that they used on PS4 in some form, where a PSN account can be designated as the primary and other users can access its purchases and subscription content from the other consoles. Makes sense that they would continue on with that model, especially with how integrated backwards compatibility is. It's almost like, how do you get rid of that at this point? It's in order to retain backwards compatibility, make sure everything works the same way, you kind of have to. This is kind of cool. They have confirmation on cross-generational party chat, message and voice chat with friends across PS4, PS5, and the PlayStation app. So it doesn't matter if you're playing the PS4 version or the PS5 version. Seems like you'll still be able to do your party chat, get together with your buddies, and all that.
Oh yeah, I can
see-
still get messages from randos about hot singles in my area.
Did you see the party support for PS5 is 100 people?
Yes, I did.
I don't get
Why?
that. I don't understand that.
Why?
That sounds so chaotic.
Battle Royale with 100 people,
No,
Right.
do
all
it.
in your party.
Do it though.
Yeah, I
More
don't know.
chaos.
That seems insane. And lastly, we did get some like leaked stuff with the UI, and supposedly there is 664 gigabytes available after all is said and done. So the way I read it is that, we got a 825 gigabyte SSD, but in like real world terms, like what's actually usable is 768, and then you're losing about 104 off of that for the OS, is what I'm understanding. So it's about 100 gigabyte OS.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't trust that leak. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because most of those images have a mouse cursor on them, and it's also weird too because like they're acting like it's part of like what they're doing, but at the same time it's like your mouse cursor's on that image, and it's also the background, like the way the font and everything is like set up. A lot of people are saying it looks like the PS3 recovery screen on how it does, even the PS4 recovery screen. Here's the thing. If it's the final storage is that, I actually kind of think it's a little bit of a big deal, simply because we have a digital only console and that is relatively small. What sucks about this is that, like, again, it's one of those things. If you just would have announced it earlier on, we wouldn't be doing this whole song and dance right now.
Right.
That's just, it's one of those things that I hate. And I'm also more confused on why the OS is so big in consoles. I'm still kind of researching that. I don't get that. The Xbox One Series X OS makes sense to me because they are portioning off a big chunk of it for their quick resume feature, which I was like, that's fine. That is a feature that you are doing. I think you should let the user have some more choice there. But at the same time, I get it. That is a selling point for your console. For the PS5 to have that similar setup, it's like, but we have never heard anything about that. I was like, why? It's just weird. I don't know. I'm weird that way, especially I'm digital only next gen. So it's like, for me, it's like, well, that means I definitely have to get another SSD inside there, which I'm still waiting on that list. And then I have to get an external hard drive for that. It's just like, I would have liked something that had been like day one, it would have been fine. But like day one, like, Spider-Man, Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, and Demon Souls, that's 168 gigabytes right then and there, So, I mean, it's not something to kind of, I think, blow away. It sucks. And I just hope it's not.
Yeah, both of them. I mean, Xbox has a little bit more, but it also has a larger OS, supposedly, according to this, with that one being 128, which puts it down to 802 available. So both of them are not great as far as
Did you see the
their
Series
storage
S?
size. That one's going to be down to like 300 and something, right?
335 gigabytes, I think, is what, if I remember the number there.
Ooh.
That's like six
That's a
games.
digital only console.
Yeah,
Please
that's kind of
enjoy
crazy.
Call of Duty and nothing else.
Yeah, if it stays the same, right? That's pretty wild. Another thing I saw, but I couldn't find confirmation on, but I saw people talking about wish list being confirmed.
Yes, that is actually built in on the console, but not
Good.
on the website.
No.
Which is where it makes it weird, because the store for the PS5 games that you can pre-order digitally right now is not the same PlayStation store that you do PS3 and PS4 games with. It's actually a complete separate store. That's actually the image that I shared on Discord saying, hey, the PS5 icon actually looks nice. It leads to an entirely different storefront in a way. So the wish list is built for the console, but not for the website.
Right. Well, I'm glad that they're gonna have a wish list involved with the actual console store, though, and I hope that it means if I put something on my wish list, I get alerted when it's on sale and shit like that. That's what I'm hoping it is.
I'm hoping so too.
Yeah, because that would be great. That's a nice little, quality of life improvement. That I would really appreciate. So as we said earlier, we were really considering calling this show Salty Sunday.
Oh God,
A lot of salt this week and the week before. A lot of it directed at PlayStation. PlayStation's having a rough couple weeks. I think some of it justified, some of it not as much. Vince, I feel like you're the perfect person to tackle this minefield of controversies.
Oh God.
But first, let me just acknowledge
Yes.
5 gifted subs courtesy of Rose City Matt. Thank you so much, man. Bringing us closer towards the daily sub goal. We're working our way up. We're already over halfway there on daily sub. We're almost halfway there on daily follow. We've smashed our daily tip. We'll spin for that in a moment. We're close to full extension, 60-minute after show. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all the support. Don't forget, subs, tips, and cheers will get you a spin of that big old prize wheel. We'll get to that during the wheel spin segment. And thank you for giving those subs to X1 Bros, Sadistical, Oriasa, Reaper of Samcro, and Raw Dog, all coming into the +1 posse. Welcome, Dave, X1 Bros. It's good to have you here. Take it away, Vince.
All right,
Navigate us.
So let's start with the first topic here. Dirt 5 game saves will transfer on Xbox, but not on PlayStation. Currently on Xbox, this is a quote from the developers from their Twitter account.
Yep.
All progress can be carried over between generations. On PlayStation, your Playground's creations can be carried over, but other game progress, career, currency, save liveries cannot. If that changes, we'll let you know.
Why, Vince? Why?
My guess is, from everything that I've been looking and reading on, it looks like PSN is the culprit, number one. Number two, there's not an actual solid mandate like Microsoft has for their games being the exact same games across platforms. Mm-hmm. So, like, to give an example here, when you buy Dirt 5 on your Xbox One or your Xbox Series X or your PC on the Windows Store, that is the same ID. The game has the same exact ID that gets attached to your account, and that gets crossed over through everything like that. It's what Play Anywhere used to be. What Sony has is a little bit of a weird situation to where, like, Dirt 5 can have Dirt 5 PS4, Dirt 5 PS5. Same game, 2 separate IDs, and therefore, like, if the save system is built in based on IDs, it can't cross for that stuff over. Mm-hmm. Now, their Playgrounds is their online stuff. It's the same way with Destiny. You log onto your Destiny account, you don't have even a game save on there, but you play Destiny before, guess what? Your character's there because Bungie is holding that in the cloud for you, right? So it's what's weird to me here is the tweet of saying if that changes, we'll let you know. So they clearly know something's up, and they want to fix something. The other issues that we had was Yakuza 7 was another game that was confirmed for that, and Maneater, of all things, was confirmed for that one. Yeah, was a weird one there. The Yakuza 7 stuff is even more weird to me because, like, people are making a big deal out of that, but the thing is, like, that game comes out November 10th for PS4, but you're not playing the PS5 version until March of 2021. So the little bit of the controversy there doesn't make sense to me. Because it's like, if you're playing Yakuza 7, you're playing it and you're beating it, and then you're going back to it. Mm-hmm. It's like, or you're waiting till it comes out on PS5 and you're just buying it and playing it that way. It doesn't really make sense too much there for me. And Maneater, again, I think
the concern here is we only have 3 games right now, right? But is this the start of, like, a barrage of games being announced as not having game save transfer support? You know, is there something behind the scenes going on here that, like, PlayStation did not think of or just couldn't correct because PSN was built on this outdated database and they made mistakes from the very beginning?
I mean, I don't know, Tom, what do you think?
Well, look, for me personally, as you mentioned, this is potentially a PSN issue, and frankly, we are at a point now where I feel like, for quality of life reasons, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make this happen, where you can cross over your save. I mean, I think back, and I can still picture vividly the launch from PS3 to PS4. At least for me, when I was dealing with, say, Battlefield 4, I
Yeah,
believe
it would have been 4.
It would have
Yep.
been 4. So I remember dealing with that, and the only thing that transferred over, they did manage to transfer over your online progress, but your campaign progress was not transferred over, which was extremely strange. I didn't understand why that was the case. But I mean, for trophy hunting, it was perfect for you, because then all your multiplayer achievements were done. Then you just had to worry about the campaign. But I'm in the same spot as you, man. I have no idea why this is such a huge problem. Why they couldn't have figured this out and just have one simple PSN ID of just Dirt 5 PlayStation, and then just move on to and from. I personally don't understand why.
I honestly think that's what they're doing. I think what's happening right now is, I don't want to blame COVID entirely for us, because, COVID has been responsible for a lot of shit that's happened.
Of course.
But I think it's kind of been where their mindset has been. It's just not everything works. They're taking a system that was built regionally for the PS3, and then they tried to unify it for the PS4 launch, and they've been doing some small stuff there. They finally just got name changes in like 2 years ago, I think. Yep. And even then, that wasn't completely 100% foolproof, even though I had no issues with that.
I've been hesitant personally, specifically because of that. I mean,
I was in the beta test for it, and I've not had a single issue. I even went and downloaded like old games like Thief and things like that. I had no issue. So like, I think there's only like a very few, like 10 games that actually presented like multiple issues with it. But that's beside the point. Again, the big thing for me is Dirt 5. It seems like the developers are on the idea of at least changing it up right now, and they were just transparent. They just said currently right now this is what it is, but considering we have a month from now, we'll have to see where it goes. And here's my thing: I hope we don't see more of a barrage. I hope this is kind of where it ends. If we start seeing more and more of it, then it's going to be kind of more of a whole. All right, Sony, really, what is your
screwed
problem?
Up or man, like what you did in the past really came back to bite you in the ass. Like whatever setup you guys made here.
Yeah, and it's like at the same point, it's like, I'm not gonna defend you on that. You need to fix that, It's like, we can't be expected to be doing that, especially whenever you're gonna start doing this whole like $70 price hike and this cross-gen stuff. It's like that's the whole point.
That's the thing, is it's happening at a bad time. Like, I get $70 price hike, and I think we're actually a little bit overdue for it. Yes. But when you've got Game Pass allowing games to come out for free, and then you got all these issues coming out otherwise with PlayStation, it makes the $70 price hike definitely less palatable, a little bit harder a pill to swallow. And that segues right into another controversy with Destruction All-Stars, what you had on screen here, being announced at full price $70, but that's not all.
Yeah, it's actually a full price $70 game with apparently microtransactions.
It seems so, right?
Edition includes 10,000 All-Star coins, which is the in-game currency. Now, again, I did some more reading on this, and I'm not going to draw a side here because I kind of don't know what they're doing. So from what I understand, the in-game currency is just that. It's the actual in-game currency. So when you buy Digital Deluxe Edition, you're just getting a one-time boost of that to like fuel, like it's like Fall Guys in a way, to where like instead of buying the kudos or whatever, it'd be like you bought Digital Deluxe of Fall Guys, you got 10,000 kudos, and you just keep earning more as you play the game. You don't have the ability to buy them. That's what it looked like to me for the coins. It looked like they were going to go much more for the cosmetic stuff to be microtransactions, which is like the big thing. But it's funny how everyone's kind of hinging on the in-game currency, which like the skins are going to probably be the more expensive bit there. And we can complain about that because Destruction All-Stars is $70. Digital Deluxe is what, 90? I think.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't understand it. I don't understand how they thought this was a good move at all, ever, when they were developing this game. It had to be from the beginning decided like this is going to be a full price game, and I don't understand how, considering the landscape right now, they thought that was the way to go.
Look, you could justify it with a game like Call of Duty, where you understand there's going to be microtransactions involved in that, because at the very least, I'm spending $70, I'm getting a full campaign, and I'm getting a bunch of different modes and a couple of different stuff like that. I don't have to do it, but that generally speaking, like I'm getting $70 worth of game here, and then I can choose to add more on. Destruction All-Star seems like it's going to be relatively. It's going to be like essentially Rocket League as far as like the content amount that you're
looks
getting.
Cool. I think it looks like a fun game myself.
It does. It certainly looks like a fun game, but it looks like a $30 game or a $20.
I agree.
Game.
I was thinking more like 40. I think $30 if it was last generation. This generation it would have been 40. That would have been better. But in all honesty, I think this has nothing to do with greed. I think this is just a bad business move on their end because I think they had more to gain monetarily by making this either a much cheaper game or honestly making a free-to-play game and then just going all in on microtransactions. Similar to like a Fall Guys situation, how well it's doing on PS Plus and how much shit ton of money they must be making on microtransactions with that game. They would have been better off trying to get as many people in as possible and monetizing that. Now, I don't think they're gonna get too many people buying this at $70. I really don't.
No, I mean, look, I could see this being a very early entry into the PS Plus.
I agree.
Game of the month
I think it should be the first month. I think it should be day one PS Plus.
Like, hey, it's free available to you if you have the console the first month, but then after that you're gonna have to pay $70.
That's fine.
Like,
I think that's totally fine. That. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's like that
Rocket
being
League
like an extra perk.
Yep.
Yeah, Rocket League did that too. I think it's fine. The whole part of that game, again, just doesn't make sense to me is like, why 70? And because, like, again, we're having this drought right now of like, we haven't even seen actually like a full match of it yet.
Right.
Which is another big thing. It's like that there's this like, I hate having this whole thing of like, you know, oh, I need to have all this information when I play a game, or like, I absolutely hate the phrase, well, what do I do? I hate that so much, especially with gaming nowadays when people are like that, like, I don't get it.
But you want to know what the game loop is.
But you want to know what the game loop is. You want to see like, okay, how long does an actual match last? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Like that lets you budget. Like, okay, if I'm spending $70 on this, I know that like, you know, $70, I'll be playing like, you know, 4 or 5 matches. That's still like, you know, 3 or 4 hours, you know, therefore the value to money ratio, however you are, depends on how it is, but it gets justified, right? Here, it's like, if I'm going to play this twice, I don't want to spend $70 on it, you know? So it's just weird. So then what makes things even more weirder too is how they're handling Spider-Man Miles Morales. Oh my gosh.
And this has been like weeks of this now.
Non-stop. I don't get it.
But so go ahead.
Yeah, so the big issue right now is how do you get Spider-Man remastered with Miles Morales? And that is where the thing is. You either spend, I think it's $70, I think, for the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition to get Spider-Man remastered, or you don't get it at all.
No, that's not the case. So here's the way it works. Personally, I don't see why there's a lot of confusion because I feel like I'm going to be able to explain this pretty quick to you guys. All right. You have a PS5. You're getting PS5. You're getting Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Deluxe Edition. Comes with Spider-Man Remastered.
Ultimate Edition.
You're good to good. Ultimate Edition. You're getting Spider-Man Remastered. You're good to go. Let's say you wanted to get Miles Morales on PS4, though. Okay, you get Miles Morales on PS4. There's no Deluxe Edition there. But the difference is you can upgrade for free to the PS5 version. And when you upgrade for free the PS5 version, you now have the option to also spend an extra $20 to get Spider-Man Remastered. And that's about it. And the thing that's a problem is that there's no standalone. There's no standalone of Spider-Man Remastered. I get that being an issue, but I don't understand the confusion around like how you get it. It's pretty simple, guys. Like it's very simple.
The confusion is why would you do this? Like
why wouldn't you sell it separately?
Why wouldn't you just sell the game that you worked on?
I think that they will. They will sell separately, but they're trying to get people to buy Miles Morales at the beginning.
Because you said this in the Discord. Once again, please join the Discord if you want to talk about these things as they happen.
Yeah.
But why would you specifically try to hamper your ability to give out this game, especially when you're launching a new console, right? This is allegedly ready to go day one of this console being there. If somebody doesn't necessarily want to play Miles Morales, but they want to play a remastered version of Spider-Man, why wouldn't you just do that? Why wouldn't you just give that option? It costs you literally nothing to do that. It's completely.
There's more to gain
any
with
sort of
right now
basic
though at the
understanding.
launch. There's more to gain by getting people to buy Miles Morales for $50 though.
I mean, is there?
Yes,
I mean,
there is. In their mind, they're probably doing the risk reward there, and they're saying, okay, we can get a lot of people buying Spider-Man Remastered for $20 individually. How many people are going to do that? And then there's the other side of the coin, like, okay, what if we only put it in Spider-Man Miles Morales until March of next year? How many people are going to get Miles Morales just to get Miles Morales, and how many people are going to get it to get Spider-Man Remastered? So now they spend $50, $70. It's all a risk reward calculation on how much can we get the user to spend.
I'm putting this all under the same caveat of I don't know how many people who are interested in Miles Morales wouldn't have already played Spider-Man and wouldn't necessarily be also interested in getting the remaster.
Yeah, I think there's probably a small group
like
there.
That number is probably infinitesimal, but my general point is I just don't understand why you don't just offer that as another option. Like, the option costs you literally nothing to do that. Why do you feel the need that you need to drive the consumer to have to purchase both?
I think if they release it in March, it all kind of makes sense, right? If they release it individually in March, it's like then they took advantage of the Miles Morales launch. They got those people that bought Miles Morales for $50, $70. And then for the people that just want Spider-Man Remastered and for some reason don't want Miles Morales, which is, I don't understand that. But for those people that just want Spider-Man Remastered, there you go. $20 or
but
$30.
I just, at the end of the day, like, if the game's completed, I just don't understand why you don't just... There you go.
It's a little bit weird. I agree. It's a little bit weird. I think that they could at the least have some nice optics if they're like, guys, we heard you. We were wrong. Here, we're gonna release Spider-Man Remastered individually as well.
Now again,
we're actually gonna put it on the PlayStation Plus Instant Collection because we're sorry.
Yeah,
we screwed up.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's again part of like what I'm also interested in is we're just going under the assumption that the remaster is $20.
It'll probably be $30 when it's individual, right? Because you get a discount if you buy it with Miles Morales.
That's assuming that you get a discount, but if you don't get a discount, then that makes even less sense.
Yeah,
to me.
Well, and the other thing too, I think is where the optics kind of get even more muddled is like I bought Spider-Man's collector edition, so I have to it's just weird to me. It's like I have to rebuy this entire game again in a way to get the remaster. But I can't purchase that by itself. I have to buy another game to do that, which is the other game I was already interested in. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to. That's where I'm at too right now. It's like I don't know what I want to do. Do I want to buy $70 Miles Morales, or do I just want to buy $50 Miles Morales?
Yeah,
it's
you guys can play Infamous Last Light, but you have to buy Infamous 2, and then you can, or Infamous Second Son, and then we'll allow you to buy New Light,
Last Light,
or Last Light.
First Light, I think. Wasn't it First Light?
I don't know. It doesn't
or
matter.
Last Light, whatever.
We know what we're talking about.
Whatever it was called.
Here's the biggest thing for me was that I was just happy to see they finally dove in on the remastered details. I was really happy about that.
Yeah, which we'll get to a little bit later on. I did put a poll in the chat. Just out of curiosity, have the controversies, because this kind of is isolating it and simplifying it here, but there's been a lot of controversy just around the lack of communication more than anything else. Like we just talked about earlier, how people were hoping we would get more UI stuff today, but we didn't get UI stuff. We just sort of got hands off, pictures and angles and all that. Like, when are they going to show off the UI? Personally, I'm going to say the same, I keep saying, like, we still got like 40 days left. Like, I don't need to see the UI right now. If they show me the UI in 20 days, it's not affecting my purchase of the thing. Like, I'm excited to see it, but like, I don't quite understand the impatience to see the UI.
I think I can answer that. I think what's happening is right now is in the bubble that we kind of are in. It's all those patents. That's where the biggest thing. And then we're getting a lot of those people are saying like, well, this is pretty much how it's going to be. And I think that's what people want to see. People want to see like, well, is that going to be instant game loading? Or, you have something like the Game Inform article with Kenya saying like, yeah, it's a 2-second cold boot, like from the PS5 home screen to the game. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. I think that's just where it's been. Like, there's been like all this kind of like small hype for it, and then we're just still not getting it. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like we don't even have it.
I think people were just expecting the PS4 build up to launch to happen again. And granted, like Xbox has done a great job in communicating, but like this is not a normal year at all. It's just, especially not in Japan. I think as you said, Vince, like we don't want to blame everything on COVID, but I am sure that is a part of this to a certain extent. I'm sure they want to make sure they've got everything like, okay, yeah, this is happening. This game looks like this. This game's going to play like this. This game's actually making launch. You know, like all these things that are maybe a little bit up in the air because of COVID or because of, you know, this got delayed, that got delayed. They might want to just make sure, like, yes, we are 100% sure before we start releasing this information. It happened with Spider-Man Remastered, as we'll show off later. It was like 3 days before that. We're like, why haven't we seen it yet? And then like 3 days later, there it is. It's like, guys, we could have just waited 3 days. There it is. You know, like that's kind of how I feel about the UI. Like people are flipping out today, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tuesday drop is the UI. Yeah. And then, like, well, how are you going to feel about that then? Like, guys, like you went nuts because we didn't get the UI today. I'm not talking about you in chat, but I've seen plenty of people like, just like, this is it. I can't handle this anymore. What am I going to do with myself? I need a UI right now. And it's like, guys, 2 days. Just give it a break. Calm yourselves. Calm your shit. Like, it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's going to be okay. We're going to make it through this together.
Simmer down now.
Simmer down now. But you guys mostly seem to be either holding on to your pre-order or you didn't have a pre-order anyway. So seems like nothing has changed. Now that we're past that, Tom, what is Spider-Man Remastered all about?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
So we got a big old reveal. Guess what? Spider-Man Remastered is a remaster of the game that you loved, one of the PlayStation's greatest hits, featuring updated city environments, improved models and materials, ray-traced reflections and ambient shadows, new skies and weather effects, upgraded characters with higher fidelity skin, eye, and teeth shaders to individually rendered strands of hair. Also uses a new facial capture tech. Also, Peter Parker's face has now been recast.
What?
Whoa. Okay,
Facegate.
Facegate, big time Facegate. So we have just lost out on John Bubniak.
Yes. Good old John Bubniak.
Right? John Bubniak to Ben Jordan. Insomniac claims that the reason why this happened was to better match Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Ben Jordan's muscle and skull structure, bone structure, is a little bit closer.
He actually does. If you look at Yuri Lowenthal, he actually does look like a young Yuri Lowenthal. Yeah,
got a little bit of a baby.
I do see it. Yeah, it's funny. But before you even go on, let's just back up for a second here, because this could have been added into the previous story of another controversy. Because guys, they're getting death threats over this, and I'm not joking. They are getting death threats at Insomniac. Brian Intihar, creative director, is getting death threats because they changed the face of Peter Parker. Let that sit for a second.
I'm not gonna let that sit for a second. I think it's stupid. All right, it's stupid. If you're that emotionally invested, you need to leave this hobby, because like that's ridiculous. You're gonna sit there and threaten an entire development team because your face changed for a character that's virtual, and they said they have an entire reason for doing it. Fuck off. It's insane. Fuck off.
It's absolutely insane. And that doesn't even take into account
right the entire time.
This is opinion based, but I think it looks much better. Like much better. I think it looks more like how I would imagine Peter Parker. The graphics, the visual fidelity is so improved over Spider-Man PS4. I love it. I absolutely love the way this looks now. So that's just my personal opinion. That's outside of the controversy.
I prefer classic Peter.
That's fine. Okay. Well, actually, let me put a poll in the chat. Guys, which model do you prefer? Do you prefer new Peter or old Peter? Let us know. Moving on. Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Finish your thought, Vince, please.
No, because The Rock asked me how do I really feel. I just feel like it's stupid that this entire year we've had developers have to deal with stupid bullshit death threats because people are getting like that, just uptight and that emotional about something like that. It's ridiculous.
Dude, it never ends.
God, Gretchen, you're so stupid.
It's unfortunate. Like these developers sit there and craft these games. They work on these games, and all they get is this social media bullcrap of these people trying to hunt them down and want to do all these death threats. We saw The Last of Us 2 cast. We've seen that with other games throughout the year.
How dare you, Laura Bailey? You know what you did.
How dare her? How dare her?
I'm done now.
Yes. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so in addition to all of that, we also have 60 frames per second performance mode.
Ooh.
Near instant loading. You can turn back on the fast travel animations. Spatial 3D audio on compatible headphones. Haptic feedback and adaptive trigger support. New photo mode features. You can now place lights in the environment and change your suit after you've lined up your shot. That's going to be fantastic.
That's
I
cool.
know certain people like Dean are going to go flip out for that.
That's real
Yeah.
cool. I like that a lot.
We're going to get new suits.
Boom.
Yay.
Cue your Anchorman gif. New trophy lists. Also good for all of you trophy hunters out there. Insomniac has also been working on the remaster since 2019 on top of that.
So I do think people have come around after hearing all this on it being like a $20 thing. A lot of people were like, this should be free. We should get a free upgrade. I do think that's finally passed, where it's like, okay, yeah, we get it now. Like, this looks a lot better. They've been working on it since 2019.
I was one of those people. I even said it. I was like, as long as I can see exactly what you're giving to me, I can judge that. I was like, I don't mind spending $20 on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
This isn't like a situation where we just got Super Mario 3D All Stars and they're just really crappy ports
Mhm.
of the old games. Like I could get just as good, if not a better version of this game by just getting an emulator. Like this
Right.
seems like they actually like put in the time and effort for a re-release.
Yep.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
going back one point there, the new trophy list, do we think that's why the save file doesn't transfer over for Spider-Man?
I don't think so. I honestly think this is because it's an actual remaster. There's actually different like additions, and the engine is different.
It's like
I
a different
think that's-
ID and everything.
It's still different ID and everything like that. They probably could have done like some sort of like, for lack of a better way, a translator between the save files. But I think for them, it just was in the time crunch. They just didn't have time to implement something like that that could facilitate like, oh, you've done this and bring that over. I don't know. It just depends on how their whole data structure is, on how they read that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's not easy all the time. Some games do it really smart, and other games, just not so smart. And it just might have been one of those cases where they
It's
just
not so
didn't design,
smart.
you know, just not so smart.
Just
Who
not so
knows?
smart, guys. Insomniac, dumb. You heard it here first.
I didn't say
That's
that. I didn't say that. I'm just saying based on how they're
Where's Resistance 4, Insomniac?
See,
Give the
I got
people-
Tom.
You
going.
joke, but I actually would be pretty excited about that.
I would be too.
Yeah, I'd be pretty excited about that. I like the Resistance franchise, specifically 3. I thought 3 was a fantastic game. Moving on. CD Projekt Red promised no crunch on Cyberpunk 2077, but failed to deliver on that promise. IGN writes, CD Projekt Red is reportedly enacting mandatory 6-day work weeks to finish work on Cyberpunk 2077 in time for its November release. The studio previously promised employees that there would be no mandatory crunch to finish the highly anticipated RPG. In a report published by Bloomberg, I think from Jason Schreier, CD Projekt Red studio head Adam Badowski sent an email to staff explaining the decision to crunch before the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Badowski even addresses how the crunch decision reverses earlier promises from the company, saying they wouldn't require it. Quote, I take it upon myself to receive the full backlash for this decision. I know this is in direct opposition to what we've said about crunch. It's also in direct opposition to what I personally grew to believe a while back, that crunch should never be the answer. But we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. Crunch is a term across a variety of industries where employees are asked to put in extra hours, sometimes days, to complete a project before a deadline. The commitment extends far beyond the typical workday or week, meaning employees typically stay late into the night and weekends to meet strict goals. CD Projekt co-founder Marcin Awinski gave an interview to Kotaku in 2019 saying it would be like CD Projekt to be known as a studio that's humane to its developers and discussing its non-obligatory crunch policy. So it sounds like they tried, but if they didn't, it would have meant another delay. And I think maybe that wasn't an option this time for whatever reason. Like, I guess monetarily, to miss the launch of the consoles, it was just something they couldn't allow in this situation. Like, how do you guys feel about this? Is there a certain line where it's like, okay, I kind of get it now. You guys tried, but you weren't able to do it. Do better next time. Like, what do you guys think?
Literally, if the doors were going to be shut and the lights were going to be turned off, that is the only excuse that I could see for why. Just delay the game. Again, like, who
Yep.
cares? Just do it again. Like, I don't mind.
The
if you're
angry
gonna tell me
Twitter
that
trolls, Tom. They care.
Yeah,
They
I
care
know,
a whole
but
lot.
I need my content and I need it now.
Are you kidding me, man? Like we need UI on PS5 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
When CD Projekt, Red delays this game for the third time, how do you think people are going to react?
Assuming that we're rational human beings who have some sense of understanding and wish that everybody would actually work in humane working conditions. By the way, games industry, please unionize. But
Yeah.
Beyond that, I would much prefer, and I think generally speaking, the majority, the non-vocal minority of the gaming community would rather prefer just getting a delayed game that comes out in the most perfect way than to try to rush through finishing something while also working your people to death. Like, I don't want that. I want to feel good about playing this game. I don't want to feel like, oh, this is the work of essentially. It's not slave labor, because I think the one thing we didn't mention is apparently they're getting extra cash based on revenue from this.
Yeah, they're like,
so that's like
they're each going to get like an extra $50,000 bonus.
Yeah. So I mean, you're getting something out of it, but at the end of the day, like, if you are specifically trying to make your company be the humane company, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your employees to stick by that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, short of them, if they were to come out tomorrow and straight up say, look, guys, the real reason why we're doing this is because we would literally have to shutter everything and shut down the studio if the game is not delivered at this date.
Yeah. Which isn't going to happen.
Which isn't going to happen.
Not for them. They're doing very well.
But that is literally the only situation where I would see that this would be acceptable.
Yeah. One thing I will say is it does really seem like they've tried to be as pro-consumer as possible. They've tried to support their team as much as possible in the past. We all know, like, Witcher 3 is getting a free next-gen patch, for example. They've been, like, the studio that's known for that for a while now. So it sucks that it did come to this, and it makes me wonder, like, why didn't you just delay it? Like, what is happening internally that is, like, so bad that you can't delay it? And, like, granted, our community is the best community in the world, of course, but everybody in the chat is all saying the same thing, like, just delay it. Patricia F. saying, I had a long discussion with my sister about crunch yesterday. There's no reason you can't delay a game to avoid crunch. Maybe if they did delay more games, then you would avoid releasing buggy garbage. Yeah, I mean, I agree personally. Like, I've never had a problem with delays. The Last of Us got delayed several times, and if they needed to delay that game again, that would have been totally fine with me, because that resulted in becoming one of my favorite games of all time. Do what you got to do. Delay it as long as you need to make it what it needs to be, and to not result in crunch culture. Now, of course, The Last of Us had a lot of crunch culture, and I don't know what the remedy is to that with games that are that ambitious, especially quadruple A. But I do think it's something that we're working towards. It's nice to see that, like, based on this story alone, it's something that CD Projekt Red is working towards, and unfortunately they were not able to accomplish it this time.
No.
But I hope that they're transparent on maybe why that is more in the future, and hopefully transparent also as well in the future on how they're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. Right. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the sub coming in from Kiko. A lot of subs coming in, lots of tips, lots of support.
Thank you, Kiko.
Did you hear about the guy whose whole left side
Did you hear about the
was
guy
cut off?
whose whole left
He's
side was
all
cut
right
off? He's
now.
all right. Oh, okay.
Good dad joke right there. We'll give some wheel spins to all those supporting. And don't forget, guys, we just need another $6.65, which is 1 cent less than a scare tip of $6.66. If we get one more scare tip of $6.66, we have maximum extension. We're going to do a full 1 hour after show. Right now, though, let's go on to another controversial story this week from Vincent.
God, why'd you give me all the really bad
I
ones?
like doing that. I like giving you the
Yeah,
ones
I-
that you don't want.
The
You
ones
want
I
to see
don't
the
want.
soul
I like.
leave your
I
eye.
used to
I
do
like
that
to-
with Mike all the time. I would make sure he got the stories that were like gonna rile him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try not to be as vulgar this time. My apologies for my language tonight, guys.
Yeah.
WB Interactive president responds to the ongoing debate over supporting what's her face. Not a lot of. Sorry,
J.K. Rowling. I'll say it. She who should not be named.
She who should not be named at this point.
Yeah.
Not a lot I can comment on other than, since we did get so many questions, I wanted to be responsive the best way I could. The way I think I like to do is this. I'd like to echo something you heard from our most senior executive leadership. While J.K. Rowling is the creator of Harry Potter, and we're bringing that to life with the power of Portkey, in many places she's a private citizen also. And that means she's entitled to express her personal opinions on social media.
By the way,
I may not, and I might not agree with her stance on range topics, but I can agree that she has the right to hold
Can you
her
hear me
opinions.
Only thing I gotta say to that is like, yeah, it's the most I want to keep my job response ever. And I'm sorry, Drew, that you're dead.
I'm dead.
I apologize.
I'm dead, you guys. I'm dead.
But like, I get it. I understand that he has to say that to keep his job. But at the same time, he simply could have just said like, I just don't agree with her, and just been done with it. Like,
yeah, they're just
not agree, and I
really,
might not agree. No, just say I don't agree with her, and just be done with it. You know,
it's tough. I get it, but at the same time, it's like they're trying so hard not to say what they want to say about this woman. It's like, just say it. Just say it. Like, honestly, you might win over more people saying it than not. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's so split, of course, just like the rest of the nation right now. It's so divided. So even just talking about this right now, I'm sure there's some people in the chat that are like, what's wrong with J.K. Rowling? You know, it's a touchy subject. It's a very, very touchy subject. And it sucks. It sucks for them that they have to navigate this at all. It's not their fault.
Right. It's just like at the same time too, like these devs are trying, like this game looks great.
It does.
From
it really
everything
does.
that I've seen. But at the same time, the attachment of said creator is like, I don't even know if I want to touch that. And that kills me. Because it's like this development team is putting in the work.
If they were to like say like flat out like, yeah, she's gonna get royalties from this because we have no choice in the matter, but we do not condone her, we do not support her. There's like this game is by developers that do not support J.K. Rowling, I'd be like, cool, that's awesome. Yes. I will support you guys, the developers. Right. I know she's gonna make a dime off this, but yes, I will support you guys. Because there's no stopping that. She's gonna make money off of this.
She's gonna make money.
Yeah, there's no stopping that. They can't do anything about
more
that.
Than likely she already has.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But like I don't think probably in the way that this is working out and contract wise, likely she's not seeing any money off of the revenue of this, but they paid her a bunch of money. WB did either as part of her original deal for the movies, as well, maybe it was a multimedia contract that she got, similar to what happened with The Witcher. I don't know. But, you know, I would be interested to know. But I would say likely she's probably not seeing any extra money off of this.
Right. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Hard to say. I doubt we'll ever know, really, for sure. But I do want to jump back real quick to X1 Bros and his comment on Crunch. Because I have to say, I do agree with him to a certain extent. I'm somebody that worked in architecture. And really, any creative field has a certain level of crunch. I think there is a big difference between 80 hours a week crunch and, hey, I need you to stick around, you know, an hour extra each day this week. Because I do that. Like some days I'll do 45 and sometimes I'll do 50. You know, it happens. There's a big difference between 45, 50, and I need you to work every Saturday for the next 6 months. Because that happens. That shit happens. Right. There's a big difference. So I think, yes, I agree with you. Like, crunch is inherent to the industry. There's always going to be a certain level of crunch. I think what we're talking about is really abuse of your employees, like a crunch that is abusing your employees. That's just there's a line. There's a clear line, and it's been crossed by Naughty Dog. It's been crossed by Rockstar. It's been crossed by many. Honestly, it's probably a whole shit ton.
Riot, Epic,
yeah,
Ubisoft, even with their modular teams, yeah. And that's bad because like that was the whole idea of that modular team was to avoid that.
$200 more and you got to eat.
They're still doing that. It sucks. It's an industry problem in the sense of how massive it is per project. I think is where the issue is. Oh, he's dead again. I'm sorry.
I'm okay, but my God, they're firing right now, man. They're just going over and over. They just keep hitting me. My God. But thank you. We're up to 70.
Rose City being a madman tonight.
Yeah, we're over $800 now. Less than $200 away from the stretch goal. We've shattered our daily tip goal, almost 3 times as much. You guys are going all in tonight. Thank you so much for all the support. I don't mind. That's what it's all about. I made this. I brought it on myself. I activated scare tips. I have only myself to blame. So you guys take advantage of it all you want. We got one more salty story here in the level updates, and I know Tom really wanted to take this one tonight.
Oh, it brings me so much joy.
Go ahead, Tom.
There is no salt on my end, my friends. So our Lord and Savior, Blessed Steve, he who has come from on high to bless us, has joined And let me be clear, Steve from Minecraft.
Yes, we must be
joins
clear.
Super
There's a lot of
Smash
Steves out
Brothers.
there.
Yes. Could be Steve Austin for all you guys
Yes.
Oh my
know.
god.
And the ensuing chaos is the story that I am currently taking. The Verge writes, Nintendo revealed on Thursday that Steve and Alex from Minecraft will be added to the character roster in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch. And now we're getting the full reveal. They'll arrive on October 13th. And there's a whole video you can watch where longtime Smash series director Masahiro Sakurai shows off their new moves, including the ability to build your own platforms out of blocks. And Sakurai also makes sure he lets you know that they forced this on his ass. The video reveals that you'll effectively have 6 different Minecraft characters to choose from, because Steve and Alex have 3 different skins each. Plus, there's a zombie and an Enderman at around the 4 minutes into the video. You'll be able to harvest materials from the walls and ground with your various tools to craft upgrades on the fly. And the materials you get depend on the stage. For instance, a Star Fox level will get you a lot more iron. What Kirby looks like after swallowing Steve or Alex has also been revealed, and he is as blocky as you would imagine him to be, and it is fantastic. This is the second character announcement in the Fighter Pass Volume 2 DLC that's available for $30, following Min Min from ARMS. But you can also nab the Minecraft pack by itself for $6 on its own. Mii fighters can also dress up as a creeper, a pig, or wear some diamond armor with new costumes that cost 75 cents each. Along with that, we also got 2 unrelated costumes from Minecraft. A new Bomberman and Travis Touchdown are now currently there. Everyone is here.
With the poll in the chat, guys, it got a little messed up there, but it still works for just don't do 1 or false. I don't know what happened there. Just go, I hate it. It's a disaster. I don't like it, but I get it. It's not for me. I love it, or I don't care. My opinion is that if I was a Smash Bros. Guy, I wouldn't be excited about this. But at the same time, I'd be like, this makes so much sense. Are you kidding me? Like, kids around the world right now are probably bouncing off the walls. Like, my God, Steve from Minecraft's going to be in Super Smash Brothers. They're so excited. Every parent is like, damn it, I don't want Steve. And all their little kids are like, yes.
I died at Enderman with his eyes looking in on Snake's box.
Yes.
Exactly what I freaking need.
These videos, man, they put together are always good. I always enjoy them. But yeah, man, what an insane amount of salt that was dropped that morning.
Oh, just so many people so angry, so upset.
So entitled.
It feels like every time. Like, I feel like there's like every single Super Smash Bros. Reveal, I feel like goes this way. It's crazy.
But my waifus, though. Why can't I get more waifus? Why can't there be more Fire Emblem characters?
Oh, definitely don't need any more Fire Emblem
Where's
characters.
Where's my 4th Xenogears character? Xenoblade, whatever.
Like, do you guys think they're working on Sora?
I would love it. I would instantly buy Sora.
I think so many people would, right?
I would be done with it. It fits perfectly. It fits so perfectly.
Supposedly this was like in the work for years, like
this
4 or 5 years or something like that.
This was rumored. Don't you remember? I think it was 2 years ago. They were rumored they were going to drop this off at the VGAs for their for the reveal was going to be Steve. That was the big insider thing. Was going to be the whole issue. Not the whole issue, but that was the whole thing. Then it just didn't happen. So I mean, Sora makes so much sense. I actually really like Steve. And watching some of the combat stuff, I was like, this is actually really deep. This is really kind of fun and interesting.
As I said, they had to like completely rework all the levels in order to make Steve work so you could build and all. Like, there was a lot of work put into this. I think people need to wait until they get their hands on it. Like, yes, it doesn't look very nice. They're unattractive characters. Like, can we all agree on that? Like, the Minecraft characters are not attractive.
That's part of the fun.
It is. It's part of the fun, but they're not attractive.
Look, is Mr. Game & Watch attractive?
No.
I mean, seriously, who cares?
But yeah, I agree. Like, that's the charm of Super Smash is all of these different things.
For everybody.
Yeah.
If you gave me 8-bit Mario, I would absolutely love it if I could play as him in this thing. Yeah. Like, give me these low poly, like ridiculous versions of these characters. Absolutely, give it to me. I'm gonna be doing the little crouch thing like constantly over to people. That's who cares about the taunts. That is the taunt.
That is a taunt. That is the taunt right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think people might come around on this one once they actually get their hands on them. You know?
Like they have for every Smash Bros thing. It's always been an explosive case of salt. Steve just made it to where like, oh, hey guys, we found the salt mines.
Yeah, seriously. It's all been mined now. I don't know if there's any salt left.
Oh,
They'll
there's
find
plenty.
it. They'll find it, yeah.
You know, yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's so freaking good. And to your question, 100%. Sora, I think, is either next or he's going to be like, he's in this season. He's 100% in this season.
Do you think so? Man, I think that will actually result in most people rejoicing. That will be one of them that will be almost unanimously loved.
Now, if you tell me Marina Lightyear shows up, then I am buying 5 copies of Smash Brothers Ultimate immediately.
I want Lightning from Final Fantasy.
Give them all support. Make me another Mischief Makers.
Yeah, we need them.
Come on, Treasure.
Let's do some wheel spins real quick here before we head to another quick commercial break. First up, we got Henry DJP, Tier 1, 16 months, 100 XP. We're also going to spin for Duroc multiple times. So we got 100, 160. This is also for Duroc. 160 plus 85 is 245. Can I do all the math? We'll say 245 plus 85 is 330. Then we're past Duroc. Now we're on to Derek the 9 Fox, 330, and we'll do bonus, 330 and bonus. Rose City Matt gets multiple spins. 330 plus bonus, XP 2 bonus. 330 and 2 bonuses. Rose City Matt again. 380 and 2 bonuses. Can I do it? 380 plus 50, that's 430. 430 and 2 bonuses. We're now on to Duroc. Can it be done? 430 plus 60, that's 490. 2 more spins. 490 plus 80 is 570. And 1 more. 570 bonus. We got 570 and 3 bonus. And 1 more spin for Kiko. 570 plus 70. That's 640. And 3 bonuses. It's a lot of XP, you guys. Way to go, Room.
Much XP.
640. And let me do all these bonuses as well. 1. I'm going to spend my money on it.
Yeah,
2.
Kuma Tenshi gets it. Mischief Makers, baby.
And 3. 3 bonuses. We're also going to start a sub gift giveaway in the chat during this commercial break right now. I don't know if anybody's a non-sub in here. Rose of the Matt coming in strong tonight with all the gifted subs. But just in cases, we're going to give this out to a non-sub. So if you are not sub to the channel, once this activates, type in !sub gift in the chat. It'll run for 5 minutes. And when we come back from commercial break, we will announce the winner. It has been opened. There you go, guys. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show with Trailer of the Week and the Rapid Fire News Roundup before heading into our 1-hour after show. So hold on tight. Chubrock. We'll be back in approximately 90 seconds. Welcome back, Level Uppers, to the Level Up Show, episode 299. This is a gaming dedicated talk show on some Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. If you are, of course, hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/levelupshow. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get alerts whenever I go live Wednesdays and Sundays. If you want to go above and beyond like so many have done tonight, we just need 2 more subs for our daily sub goal. And of course, scare tips are active. You guys are working towards that stretch goal, which is me eating surstroming. If you don't know what surstroming is, go on YouTube, search a video called Americans Eat Surstroming. That's all you got to do to see what I have ahead of me. I'm not looking forward to it. Of course, as well, head over to our guests' channels. We got Jersey_Tobin. We got Agent Vincent 4756. They will post in the chat. Head on over to their channels. Give them follows. They are Twitch streamers. They're on even more than I am. So support those. So support us as always, and give some level up love to those guys. I think we are about to move on to our trailer of the week. I did post the link in the chat for you guys.
I got it up.
So what I'll do, as always, I will give you a 3, 2, 1, and when I say go, you hit play on that trailer. I'm not even going to announce what it is. I'm going to let people find out. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
You intrigue me, Wolf-Kissed. Orphan and sibling, warrior and poet. You are many in one, it seems.
Avon! Sigurd! I missed you, brother.
Randvi, your husband returns, bringing gifts and riches to share.
And new friends, I see.
We cannot stay in Norway, not without fueling more war. So we push forward. A new kingdom awaits.
From here to Valhalla, I will always be on your side, Sigurd. Always.
Eivor, Sigurd, I give you England. This land already has many rulers. From the cunning King Alfred of Wessex to the warmongering sons of Ragnar Lothbrok, they have no wish to share the kingdoms they have made their own.
I do not fear these men,
Get some Witcher music vibes here.
nor any others who would harm us. These lands bring our people hope. I will do whatever it takes to make England our home. The Saxons hunger for Norse blood. Let's give them a taste, brothers.
These conquests have given you a home, but there is more to this land, Eivor. A darkness unseen, an unknowable threat. One bound to England's destiny, and to yours.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, available November 10th.
What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah, it's as I said, it gives you some of those Witcher vibes as at some point, which is kind of cool. I really like the world. I love Norse mythology. I love Norse just in general. So all that looks great. It's kind of the Black Flag of this generation, right? It doesn't quite look like I think a next generation Assassin's Creed game is going to look. But you can see, it's kind of that hybrid. It's there in the middle. One thing I will say is I'm really impressed by the environments. I'm not so impressed by like the character models in the game. But everything else about it looks really fantastic. Just Assassin's Creed isn't really my franchise, Just not.
Yeah.
Have you guys played I know you, Vince. You went nuts on Odyssey, right?
I played all of them. I'm gonna sit this one out.
You're gonna sit this one out. You're not gonna get this one, huh?
Not with everything that's going on with Ubisoft right now.
Oh, I get it.
Especially
Okay. Yeah.
especially for me being one of those big people who proponents their games, I feel like I need to sit this one out a little bit. Like I'm doing the
Yeah.
same thing with Watch Dogs Legion, unfortunately, just because it's just that's how I feel. I have been a huge supporter for that studio, that publisher, and then just with everything that's coming now, it's just been like I gotta take a year off of them. That's just how I am, though. Not
I get you.
dismissing anyone who's excited for it. I hope it's great.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be solid. It's on my fantasy draft, so I hope it's good. Tom, what do you think? You thinking this is gonna be a solid entry, or are you gonna get it? I can't hear you, Tom.
Tom's muted on my part.
Yeah, muted on my part as well. Well, when you come back, you can.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. You're
there we
good.
go.
There you go.
Yeah, I was
There
just
we go.
muted there for a second. Yeah, it certainly looks like more Assassin's Creed. Look, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. I think was the last one that I played.
Same here.
It's just, yeah, man. I mean, look, they're very formulaic. They're very much the same games through and through. I mean, I'm sure it looks interesting a little bit, but I kind of just wish that they would just make these historical games as opposed to, I just look at it as like, all right, well, how are they going to fit in? Oh, look, it's the future with the video game company / whatever else, and the Templars, I guess.
Is that even involved anymore?
No, so they haven't even done that. That was only Black Flag.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
We've moved on to an actual protagonist, Layla, who's like filling into like the whole Desmond role. But kind of what they did. I love how Duroc mentioned it. I deleted Odyssey so fast after finishing the last DLC for Odyssey because it kind of it sets up everything for this one. Yeah. And what they're doing with Layla is literally Desmond 2.0. And I was just like, I am not doing this again. I'm sorry.
Fantastic.
I think it's hilarious that they like never show any of that content in the Assassin's Creed trailers anymore. You wouldn't even know it exists.
Yeah, it's always a secret because it's always how like they introduce it. And it's always kind of cool how they do it in a way.
Okay.
So like it's like a set piece moment. Like
number 3 was really great for that too, and how they did it, how it morphed from Desmond into Hatham. Like that was a really cool touch. But that's what they've been doing, and it's just yeah. I mean, but they actually have a lot of really cool stuff. What's actually crazy to me, guys, is I don't know if you saw the movie.
I did not.
The movie's actually the plot of the movie is actually intertwined in the games now.
Oh.
Yeah, like there's actual references there on that, and characters that if you don't know the movie, you're gonna be like, who is this person they're talking about? It's like, yeah, they have all those. They have that entire thing there.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have guessed that they would do that, but
yeah.
I mean, they were very much a part of the production on that film, so yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense that they would make sure it integrates in a cool way. I hope it does well, just in my fantasy draft.
I mean, I think it's going to do well. I think there's a lot of actually some really cool stuff that I saw in it.
Yeah.
The meditation from Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
There's actually a game. There's actually a thing in the game to where you build the rocks, and you can put them in any configuration you want. But the game does the same thing. It has music that plays in the background, time of day, weather, all goes through that way. But then what's really cool is then you can save that and then upload that to the cloud. And then other people can walk up to and see like that's this person's thing, and then take it apart and redo it.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That kind of stuff. That's very cool. All right, so moving on, guys. We got to wrap this show up so we can get into some after show. But we got those little stories that we have to get through every week in what we call Rapid Fire News Roundup.
Very nice.
First up in the Rapid Fire News Roundup. Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy reveal was delayed into 2021. We got Jeff Grubb, I think his name is, at VentureBeat. He wrote, Electronic Arts still hasn't revealed Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and that's for a reason. The publisher originally planned to launch the remastered trilogy that I first reported on back in May, and with an October reveal and release. But now EA and developer BioWare are pushing that release into early 2021, according to people familiar with the development. The primary factor holding up development beyond the pandemic is the original Mass Effect game. It currently does not live up to the quality of the rest of the package. It would make a poor first impression for new players, and it might disappoint fans who then won't go on to play and experience the impressive upgrades for Mass Effect 2 and 3. Wow! This sounds like deja vu. What is going on here? Who experienced this recently? Who was that?
I don't know.
But one aspect those fans won't get to experience, regardless of how much time BioWare gets, is the multiplayer. EA doesn't plan to include Mass Effect 3 multiplayer in this package. This is actually really funny because I did not read this this whole thing from Jeff Grubb until right now, and wow, like he is literally speaking to me right now. That was me. That was 100% me. I got like 12 hours in. I was like, this is me. Not good. This is not that good, guys. Like, what is going on here? Why does everybody love this so much? Everybody's like, you gotta get to 2. You gotta get to 3, man. Just power through. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna power through. I don't think I will. What do you guys think about this? Are you excited for the remastered trilogy?
No.
Sorry.
Wow, you are a little negative Nancy tonight, man.
No, it's just like I actually had the same argument on my stream. I think Mass Effect 1 has not aged well at all, period. And I think it's only popular because it was around a new console launch and it was cool and everyone was like, wow, I played this type of game for the first time on a console, yippee skippy. That being said, I still think it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, as like in a great universe, I just don't care. You know, like if for fans who want this, who want to be a quality product, like Foxx, who literally we might have to be careful and watch if this comes out as a disaster. I hope this works. I hope this is the best thing for him. I actually watch. This is the game that he wants, you know. And the thing is too is like they will bring up today's standards. Well, they did that with Mass Effect Andromeda, and look what happened.
Oof.
So
oof.
Big oofs.
Yeah, do we trust them to bring it up to today's standards? I will, in all honesty, and I'm not saying I'm going to play this game. I will keep an eye on it. If they like really rehaul this thing, and it looks fantastic, and it feels like something that could release this generation, maybe I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe I'll actually give it a shot. But yeah, if it looks dated like the original one was, I'm sorry. I'm not interested. That first one was not good. It just wasn't, you guys. That fucking Mako. Give me a break. That was one of the worst controlled vehicles I've ever played in a game.
It's a game that you can go back to if you have actual sentimental value to like put yourself through it. But Yeah, if you're experiencing it for the first time after all the games that have come out since then, yeah, you'll look back and just be like, "This is trash." Like, who actually liked this?
What was I
Well, they
thinking?
made 3 of these,
Yeah.
and then you realize, oh, 2 and 3 are completely different games.
Right. Phil Spencer says Microsoft plans on releasing dedicated consoles after the Series X/S. Quote, in terms of future hardware, absolutely, I think we're going to see more console hardware down the road. Just like in video, just like in music, it's not that streaming has cut off device innovation. I think we'll continue to see that, and that's absolutely what we're playing for. Do you believe them, Tom?
It's all lies. It's all lies. I mean, come on. Why would they? They wouldn't say that this is the last Xbox console that they're ever making. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Like, just outside of gaming aspect, business wise, like, why would you tell your shareholders, yeah, you know what, we just don't feel like competing after this? Like, so what makes me feel like you're actually going to give a shit about like this generation going forward? If you don't care about anything after this, then I would start as an investor, I would start questioning my my investment in Microsoft if I'm concerned about the gaming sector, at least.
And really, this could be sort of manipulating, our expectations here, because he could be talking about Series A and Series B and Series C and all these like little mid-generation iterations that might happen for
Right.
Xbox Series that happen like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line. I think the real question is like when this generation truly comes to a close, which means PS6, because I think will continue to believe in generations. When that happens, and Xbox is also having to decide, do we release another console? That is when we will know, okay, are they actually going to continue on with generations with Xbox? We'll have to wait and see. The Last of Us Day revealed something awesome, Vince. Something truly awesome this year.
God, so amazing.
It really was
So
amazing.
So amazing.
Who cares about factions when you can
I don't give
get
a shit.
artwork by legendary Metal Gear Solid artist Yoji Shinkawa? Who gives a shit about factions?
Can we just have him design all
Box
game
art?
Yeah.
please, now?
I think he
Sony
might
artist.
be my favorite video game artist.
I actually got the art book from 5, and oof, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah, he's fantastic. It's a shame that he hasn't really had the opportunity to work on a great game in a long time. That's a real bummer. But that wasn't all.
Excuse me?
The only reason why I was even interested in Left Alive was specifically his art.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fact that
I
he's
guess we'll
doing
disagree on
character
Death
design
Stranding.
for that game. That is the only reason why I was interested in Left Alive, aside from the fact that it was a front mission game.
Mm-hmm.
But and then it turned out to be what it was. But my God, that box art still looked fantastic.
Yeah, that was one of the most poorly reviewed games of the generation, if I remember right. Left Alive. That was
great.
It wasn't great. But we also got, you guys
Check
can
out
see,
Jim Sterling's quick look at that game. That's all you need.
we got some cool statue stuff here. One actually from The Last of Us there. Let me back up a little bit. First up, we got a new statue from Mamegurai. I'm not sure how to say it, but Last of Us original statue there. And then we also have a really cool one from Gaming Heads. This has changeable heads and arms, so you can switch back and forth between the machete and the bow. And on top of that, it also has a changeable face and is 16 inches tall. This thing's a monster. I don't know how much it costs, but that thing looks beautiful. And then on top of that, I was also a big fan of this. All of the new GIFs, the new reaction
God.
GIFs
The
that
gifts
they
are
released.
amazing.
They're so
fantastic.
good. They're so freaking good. And they're kind of coming out at the right time because there's just so much like salt being produced all around PlayStation right now. So a lot of these GIFs are applied very well to the salt that's being distributed in the gaming community. But a lot of good ones there.
That everyone is perfect.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Now, in all honesty, though, were you guys disappointed at all with Last of Us Day this year, considering we didn't get like any news about factions or an update on PS5 or anything like that?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't really care. We'll get it when we get it. I know they're working on it.
I go into Last of Us / Outbreak Day with zero expectations, and I am also very much not shocked when nothing happens.
Yeah, and just to clarify why we're saying The Last of Us Day is because they actually did rename it. They felt like, especially in a year with COVID, that Outbreak Day would be insensitive. So they announced that moving forward, it will always be known as The Last of Us Day. So
Yeah.
next year, it's not going back to Outbreak Day. It'll still be The Last of Us Day. And that is the Rapid Fire News Roundup. And that is the main show, you guys. We will be sticking around, Vince and I, for the 1 hour after show because you guys were amazing tonight with $73+ in tips, shattering the daily tip goal, shattering the half hour after show and the hour after show. So you guys get to talk with us about anything and everything after the show officially ends. We'll turn on media share. Music and video can be requested, with $1 tips, and we'll just hang out. If you guys don't want to do that, we'll just hang out and we'll talk about either stuff that you wanted more elaboration on during the show here, or things that we didn't talk about at all during the show here. But thank you so much to everybody that joined tonight. 8 subs, 2 follows, $73 in tips. I will say, let's get some more follows here before you guys head out. Anybody here that's new, we got 41 people in here. We had close to 50 tonight. Anybody that's new here, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/levelupshow. I'll be back again on Wednesday, continuing Shocktober. You heard the scare tips tonight. They're active during Shocktober. I'll be doing more Resident Evil 4 on Wednesday and on Sunday. Of course, Jersey Tom, Jersey_Tom, continuing on with his horror journey through the Evil Within on his channel. Give him a follow.
Finish the Evil Within, so we're starting a new game starting tomorrow.
And Agent Vincent 4756 on his channel. Give him a follow. What are you streaming this week, Vince?
Actually, I will be doing Baldur's Gate 3 early access on Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's gonna be insanity.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
1 second. We just got hit with 2 gifted subs, so I couldn't hear anything you said. Will you stream it?
Oh my god. Baldur's Gate 3 early access.
Oh, nice. I might have to stop by for that one, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what that looks like. I used to be a big Baldur's Gate fan back in the day.
Have you seen the character creator stuff?
I haven't. No. Nothing.
Go read that. It is insane.
I honestly haven't looked at anything.
To give a quick rundown, we have multiple classes. We have multiple races. We have sub races of certain races. We have the same standard classes, I believe. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that they released about the character creator.
Very nice. Before we officially wrap up here with the main show, I do want to spin now before some people head out, because we did shatter 2 of our daily goals, now sub and tip, courtesy of Rose City Matt. So that means 2 high points will spins to everybody in the room. Don't go anywhere. Let's see what we got. We have 550 plus 525. I'll make it 550 because I'm feeling generous. 1100 XP to the entire room. Way to go, room. And thank you so much to Rose City Matt coming in, making sure we hit our daily sub goal tonight. You went all in tonight. He also upgraded his Prime sub to a full tier 1 sub tonight. I noticed. It didn't give an alert or anything like that, but I did see that, Rose City Matt. Thank you so much for upgrading your sub to a continuous tier 1 sub. That means a lot. And I hope you guys support Vince and Tom as well on their channels. They've been doing so much for us here, and they do great content, and their channels are growing. And also get on our Discord, please. Our Discord is growing. We actually hit 2 of our goals this week. We hit weekly communicators, and we also hit weekly visitors this week, which means the only thing we need to do now in order to retain partnership on Discord is get to 500 members. We're currently at 413. If in the next, I think we have 5 weeks left, and if in 5 weeks we can get to 500 members on our Discord, we will retain partnership. We've come a long way. You guys have been fantastic. We're getting a lot of new people in there. Keep sharing the show. Keep getting on our Discord. Keep being active. It's such a great community on there, and it's become even better. X1 Bros says, I love Vince streams. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
You're
glad
great,
you
Dave.
enjoy him too.
Oh, look at you guys.
Let's give a shout out to X1 Bros, of course.
Please.
Guys, X1 Bros unfortunately was hit by the closure of Mixer, like so many were. They went over to YouTube. I would assume it is youtube.com/X1Bros. They are the best, most positive Xbox community you will ever find. I know that we have a strong PlayStation community here, but we are bringing in gradually more Xbox people, especially in our Discord, I noticed. But either way, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. Xbox is doing great things this generation, as we've been talking about for a while now. They brought in ZeniMax, Bethesda. A lot of people are going to be jumping on board the Xbox ecosystem to make sure they don't miss out on those games. And they're, of course, going to continue on their commentary about everything Xbox related. So go to youtube.com/X1Bros and give them some of that level up love.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. I wish I turned off sound hooks, so sorry you can't do it, but do it. I think that's it for the main show tonight, guys. Just a reminder, October 25th, episode 300 of the Level Up Show. We've done it, you guys. 300 episodes of the Level Up Show. We've got surprises in store for you. Some crazy ass announcements that you're not going to see coming. So mark your calendars. It's going to be a big night. We're not just celebrating 300. We're celebrating 7 years of the Level Up Show. Since 2013, with the launch of the PS4, we've been doing this show. 7 years of the Level Up Show. We'll be celebrating on that episode. So do not miss it. We've got big giveaways as well, just to get you guys even more hyped. Big giveaways that night. But beyond that, honestly, I would say be more excited for the announcements that are in store. We've got some big announcements. I'm really excited to share with you guys. Drew finally completes Mass Effect.
Yes, that's
Damn
a big
it,
announcement.
Derek! Stop spoiling it, man. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Onomoko, I do remember you, man. I do, of course, always. All right, guys, let's wrap this show up officially. Thank you so much again to Vince and Jersey Tom for being here. Thank you to everybody in the chat for all the support, for being here and supporting the show in any way that you can. You all are amazing. We will see you throughout the week with gaming talk shows and game streams. Until next time, take care. And as always, don't forget to level up.